to almost 180 now, and I'm hitting 80s, around mid 80s.
How much more kind of committed he was and how much more confident he became in his own progress, instead of questioning himself about, am I doing the right thing or is this the right thing? So you could kind of see the stress level decrease a little bit, and then that energy could be focused on really all of the program aspects, right? Or his workouts.
Do that. If you could get on and do what you said day in, day out, it's amazing, like a game changer.
Through your program, I just realized like how much more I could learn. I could just feel the improvement over the course like of 4 or 5 months, like you said. I could feel the improvement myself. With you being able to supply me with this type of structure, I'm able to just learn for myself and learn how to improve by myself, which makes me feel a lot better as well as a lot more accomplished in the end.
You can give him guidance and he can always ask questions to you. I could see how he became more confident after talking to you every time. You are always there when he needs. I think it's really important to know or be told from someone professional like you.
It was a completely new experience for us. I think we were skeptical. We dove into some of the content. We realized how good it was and the quality of it. The way that you kind of worked with him and you set expectations for him, and like, hey, these are the things I'm expecting from you, and that was a big part of why we enjoy the program as well.
The program has made me like a little eagerness to go out and do something and not just like wait for the team practice and do things on my own.
As his dad, I can tell him till I'm blue in the face that this needs to be done. And sometimes it doesn't resonate coming from the dad. Sometimes it needs to come from a pro ball player.
Through your program, I just realized like how much more I could learn. I could just feel the improvement over the course like of 4 or 5 months, like you said. With you being able to supply me with this type of structure, I'm able to just learn for myself and learn how to improve by myself, which makes me feel a lot better as well as a lot more accomplished in the end.
I definitely recommend joining it. It's awesome. The community's great. Having you there to support you is incredible, and overall love the program.
You get the full structure. You get your lifting, you get your arm velocity, you get your mechanics, you get your hitting, and the hands-on approach from you.
Infield velo was 68 or something like that. It was not good. My 60-yard dash was 7.7, which is not good. And I was not very mobile. I wasn't very strong. I mean, I'm a big kid, but a lot of it was just like from my size. My infield velo now is 80, and my 60-yard dash is 70.
It's insane. What was the root cause for all that?
I mean, it was just staying consistent with the program. I think just I had to really stay on, like focus on the path that I was trying to get. You know what I'm saying? I was trying to become elite. I was trying to get better. I know the stats. At the time, I was like, oh yeah, that's not that bad. But going back and looking, that's not where I should be to play at the next level. Staying consistent with the program really helped me through that time.
I feel like now I'm really like dialed into what I'm doing. So when I do it, it's just like this before, like you talked about earlier, like it's just coming in naturally.
That felt good. I mean, it gave me my confidence shot up. I think you should join in. You do a really good job of replying back to messages, and you're really fast to help out other people with like coaching and their swings. You're a pretty good coach.
Hitting improved, touching improved, velocity went up, speed went up, everything in general went up. Before joining, I tracked my 60 time and I was running at 8.22, and then after a while, I did a showcase, and then I ran a 7.08.
What do you think the leading cause for that? That's crazy jump.
Probably mobility and probably the exercises that you have in your academy that allow for growth in those little tiny muscles that people forget about.
I could tell I was hitting the ball a little bit harder, and then it got better and better and better, and then my speed picked up with the sprinting training and all that, and I was just getting a lot better. But before that, it was not super good. I've definitely picked up on my hitting velo. Before I joined the program, my velo was 72 off the bat, and at this showcase, I hit 80.
That's insane, dude.
No, so when I first saw your program, you were talking about how to get to college and how to get D1 and get recruited and all this, and that had me super interested because I'm trying to go D1 and everything, try to get a scholarship and all this, and your program definitely talks about it and helps you walk through it and get you started. Honestly, I would say like the program definitely helped me a lot. Helped me work through some things, get my visualization for games and all that, just get me prepared.
Obviously, like my program's remote. Like, have you had any trouble by doing the work that I provide you?
No, it's right in front of you. So it's super easy to get. Search it up, find it, and start working.
Welcome Evan Mendoza to the program.
Cardinals third baseman Evan Mendoza.
Giving it a look, finds the railing and he tumbles over, but he made the catch. Unbelievable, Evan Mendoza.
Gran jugada en Evan Mendoza, dos joyas defensivas.
Evan Mendoza makes a great
rounded up the middle. Mendoza throws off the shortstop. Mendoza field spins.
Mendoza throw to first in time. Wow, what a play by Evan Mendoza.
Mendoza to second for one. Oh my word, you've got to be kidding.
Evan Mendoza.
For Mendoza lifts one to left. An inning.
Mendoza, that one's sailing back there, and it's gone.
Now, those are some of the plays and the insights of playing baseball at the highest level, not just posting about it. Now, let's flip the script. Here's what my students and families have to say about working with me.
Just share his stories of the kids asking him, what did you do? And his one answer was one word: Evan.
It's an overall great program to improve your metrics, mental approach, your velocity, and your outreaching strategies. Because there's a ton of players I know that are way better than me that had zero offers because they don't know how to reach out to coaches.
Pretty much every possible number when I've gone up. I was high 70s and now I'm aiming for mid to high 80s and hitting the same thing. I was high 80s off machine and now I'm able to put some balls out in the mid 90s.
JT's motivation to want to do it at home, be proactive in his baseball career, and we are able to do these things for him, and it's self-motivated and he's taken that action. As a parent, you want to be able to say yes to something like that.
It's been making me feel much more confident. Like now going into the season, I feel I have all the ability I need and I can just play and trust that all the work I did will pay off.
Started working out, I was about 120, 115, about 160 now. I trusted it and it worked. If you want it, go get it. It's not going to come to you.
My EV was about 75 and my body weight was around 155, around that. Since I joined that, I'm up to almost 180 now and I'm hitting 80s, around mid 80s.
How much more kind of committed he was and how much more confident he became in his own progress, instead of questioning himself about, am I doing the right thing or is this the right thing? So you could kind of see the stress level decrease a little bit, and then that energy could be focused on really all of the program aspects, right? Or his workouts.
Do that. If you could get on and do what you said day in, day out, it's amazing. Like a game changer.
Through your program, I just realized like how much more I could learn. I could just feel the improvement over the course like of 4 or 5 months, like you said. I could feel the improvement myself. With you being able to supply me with this type of structure, I'm able to just learn for myself and learn how to improve by myself, which makes me feel a lot better as well as a lot more accomplished in the end.
You can give him guidance and he can always ask questions to you. I could see how he became more confident after talking to you every time. You are always there when he needs. I think it's really important to know or be told from someone professional like you.
It was a completely new experience for us. I think we were skeptical. We dove into some of the content. We realized how good it was and the quality of it. The way that you kind of worked with him and you set expectations for him. I was like, hey, these are the things I'm expecting from you. And that was a big part of why we enjoyed the program as well.
The program has made me like a little eagerness to go out and do something and not just like wait for the team practice and do things on my own.
As his dad, I can tell him till I'm blue in the face that this needs to be done. And sometimes it doesn't resonate coming from the dad. Sometimes it needs to come from a pro ball player.
Through your program, I just realized like how much more I could learn. I could just feel the improvement over the course like of 4 or 5 months, like you said. With you being able to supply me with this type of structure, I'm able to just learn for myself and learn how to improve by myself, which makes me feel a lot better as well as a lot more accomplished in the end.
I definitely recommend joining it. It's awesome. The community's great. Having you there to support you is incredible, and overall love the program.
You get the full structure. You get your lifting, you get your arm velocity, you get your mechanics, you get your hitting, and the hands-on approach from you.
Infield velo was 68 or something like that. It was not good. My 60-yard dash was 7.7, which is not good. And I was not very mobile. I wasn't very strong. I mean, I'm a big kid, but a lot of it was just like from my size. My infield velo now is 80, and my 60-yard dash is 70.
It's insane. What was the root cause for all that?
I mean, it was just staying consistent with the program. I think just I had to really stay on, like focus on the path that I was trying to get. You know what I'm saying? I was trying to become elite. I was trying to get better. I know the stats at the time. I was like, oh yeah, that's not that bad. But going back and looking, that's not where I should be to play at the next level. Staying consistent with the program really helped me through that time.
I feel like now I'm really like dialed into what I'm doing. So when I do it, it's just like this before, like you talked about earlier, like it's just coming in naturally.
That felt good. I mean, it gave me my confidence shot up. I think you should join in. You do a really good job of replying back to messages, and you're really fast to help out other people with like coaching and their swings. You're a pretty good coach.
Hitting improved, lifting improved, velocity went up, speed went up, everything in general went up. Before joining, I tracked my 60 time and I was running a 8.22, and then after a while I did a showcase and then I ran a 7.08.
What do you think the leading cause for that? That's crazy jump.
Probably mobility and probably the exercises that you have in your academy that allow for growth in those little tiny muscles that people forget about.
I could tell I was hitting the ball a little bit harder, and then it got better and better and better, and then my speed picked up with the sprinting training and all that, and I was just getting a lot better. But before that, it was not super good. I've definitely picked up on my hitting velo. Before I joined the program, my velo was 72 off the bat, and at this showcase, I hit 80.
That's insane, dude.
No, so when I first saw your program, you were talking about how to get to college and how to get D1 and get recruited and all this, and that had me super interested because I'm trying to go D1 and everything, try to get a scholarship and all this, and your program definitely talks about it and helps you walk through it and get you started. Honestly, I would say like the program definitely helped me a lot. Helped me work through some things, get my visualization for games and all that, just get me prepared.
Obviously, like my program's remote. Like, have you had any trouble by doing the work that I provide you?
Not at all. It's right in front of you. So it's super easy to get. Search it up, find it, and start working.
Mendoza to the program.
Cardinals third baseman Evan Mendoza.
Mendoza giving it a look, finds the railing and he tumbles over, but he made the catch. Unbelievable, Evan Mendoza.
Gran jugada en Evan Mendoza, dos joyas defensivas.
Evan Mendoza makes a great
Rounded up the middle. Mendoza throws off the shortstop. Mendoza field spins.
Mendoza throw to first in time. Wow, what a play by Evan Mendoza.
Mendoza to second for one. Oh my word, you've got to be kidding.
Evan Mendoza. For Mendoza lifts one to left. An inning. Mendoza, that one's sailing back there, and it's gone.
Now, those are some of the plays and the insights of playing baseball at the highest level, not just posting about it. Now, let's flip the script. Here's what my students and families have to say about working with me.
Just share his stories of the kids asking him, what did you do? And his one answer was one word. Evan.
It's an overall great program to improve your metrics, mental approach, your velocity, and your outreaching strategies. Because there's a ton of players I know that are way better than me that had zero offers because they don't know how to reach out to coaches.
Pretty much every possible number when I've gone up. I was high 70s and now I'm aiming for mid to high 80s and hitting the same thing. I was high 80s off machine and now I'm able to put some balls out in the mid 90s.
JT's motivation to want to do it at home, be proactive in his baseball career, and we are able to do these things for him, and it's self-motivated and he's taken that action. As a parent, you want to be able to say yes to something like that.
It's been making me feel much more confident. Like now going into the season, I feel I have all the ability I need and I can just play and trust that all the work I did will pay off.
Started working out, I was about 120, 115, about 160 now. I trusted it and it worked. If you want to go get it, it's not going to come to you.
My EV was about 75 and my body weight was around 155, around that. Since I joined that, I'm up to almost 180 now and I'm hitting 80s, around mid 80s.
How much more kind of committed he was and how much more confident he became in his own progress, instead of questioning himself about, am I doing the right thing or is this the right thing? So you could kind of see the stress level decrease a little bit, and then that energy could be focused on really all of the program aspects, right? Or his workouts.
Do that. If you could get on and do what you said day in, day out, it's amazing. Like a game changer.
Through your program, I just realized how much more I could learn. I could just feel the improvement over the course of 4 or 5 months, like you said. I could feel the improvement myself. With you being able to supply me with this type of structure, I'm able to just learn for myself and learn how to improve by myself, which makes me feel a lot better as well as a lot more accomplished in the end.
You can give him guidance and he can always ask questions to you. I could see how he became more confident after talking to you every time. You are always there when he needs. I think it's really important to know or be told from someone professional like you.
Which was a completely new experience for us. I think we were skeptical. We dove into some of the content. We realized how good it was and the quality of it. The way that you kind of worked with him and you set expectations for him. And like, hey, these are the things I'm expecting from you. And that was a big part of why we enjoyed the program as well.
The program has made me like a little eagerness to go out and do something and not just wait for the team practice and do things on my own.
As his dad, I can tell him till I'm blue in the face that this needs to be done. And sometimes it doesn't resonate coming from the dad. Sometimes it needs to come from a pro ball player.
Through your program, I just realized how much more I could learn. I could just feel the improvement over the course of 4 or 5 months, like you said. With you being able to supply me with this type of structure, I'm able to just learn for myself and learn how to improve by myself, which makes me feel a lot better as well as a lot more accomplished in the end.
I definitely recommend joining it. It's awesome. The community's great. Having you there to support you is incredible, and overall love the program.
You get the full structure. You get your lifting, you get your arm velocity, you get your mechanics, you get your hitting, and the hands-on approach from you.
Infield velo was 68 or something like that. It was not good. My 60-yard dash was 7.7, which is not good. And I was not very mobile. I wasn't very strong. I mean, I'm a big kid, but a lot of it was just from my size. My infield velo now is 80, and my 60-yard dash is 7.0.
It's insane. What was the root cause for all that?
I mean, it was just staying consistent with the program. I think just I had to really stay on, focus on the path that I was trying to get. You know what I'm saying? I was trying to become elite. I was trying to get better. I know the stats at the time. I was like, oh yeah, that's not that bad. But going back and looking, that's not where I should be to play at the next level. Staying consistent with the program really helped me through that time.
I feel like now I'm really dialed into what I'm doing. So when I do it, it's just like this before, like you talked about earlier, it's just coming in naturally.
That felt good. I mean, it gave me my confidence shot up. I think you should join in. You do a really good job of replying back to messages, and you're really fast to help out other people with coaching and their swings. You're a pretty good coach.
Hitting improved, touching improved, velocity went up, speed went up, everything in general went up. Before joining, I tracked my 60 time and I was running at 8.22, and then after a while, I did a showcase, and then I ran a 7.08.
What do you think leading call is for that? That's crazy jump.
Probably mobility and probably the exercises that you have in your academy that allow for growth in those little tiny muscles that people forget about.
I could tell I was hitting the ball a little bit harder, and then it got better and better and better, and then my speed picked up with the sprinting training and all that, and I was just getting a lot better. But before that, it was not super good. I've definitely picked up on my hitting velo. Before I joined the program, my velo was 72 off the bat, and at this showcase, I hit 80.
That's insane, dude.
No, so when I first saw your program, you were talking about how to get to college and how to get D1 and get recruited and all this, and that had me super interested because, you know, I'm trying to go D1 and everything, try to get a scholarship and all this, and your program definitely talks about it and helps you walk through it and get you started. Honestly, I would say, like, the program definitely helped me a lot. You know, helped me work through some things, get my visualization for games and all that, just get me prepared.
Obviously, like, my program's remote. Like, have you had any trouble by doing the work that I provide you?
Not at all. It's right in front of you. You know, so it's super easy to get. Search it up, find it, and start working.
Welcome Evan Mendoza to the program.
Cardinals third baseman Evan Mendoza.
Giving it a look, finds the railing and he tumbles over, but he made the catch. Unbelievable, Evan Mendoza.
Gran jugada en Evan Mendoza, dos joyas defensivas.
Evan Mendoza makes a great
Rounded up the middle is Mendoza, throws out the shortstop. Mendoza field spins, throws.
Mendoza throw to first in time. Wow, what a play by Evan Mendoza.
Mendoza to second for one. Oh my word, you've got to be kidding.
Evan Mendoza. For Mendoza lifts one to left. An inning. Mendoza, that one's sailing back there, and it's gone.
Now, those are some of the plays and the insights of playing baseball at the highest level, not just posting about it. Now, let's flip the script. Here's what my students and families have to say about working with me.
Just share his stories of the kids asking him, what did you do? And his one answer was one word. Evan.
It's an overall great program to improve your metrics, mental approach, your velocity, and your outreaching strategies. Because there's a ton of players I know that are way better than me that had 0 offers because they don't know how to reach out to coaches.
Pretty much every possible number when I've gone up. I was high 70s and now I'm aiming for mid to high 80s and hitting the same thing. I was high 80s off machine and now I'm able to put some balls out in the mid 90s.
JT's motivation to want to do it at home, you know, be proactive in his baseball career, and we are able to do these things for him, and it's self-motivated and he's taken that action. As a parent, you want to be able to say yes to something like that.
It's been making me feel much more confident. Like now going into the season, I feel I have all the ability I need and I can just play and trust that all the work I did will pay off.
I started working out, I was about 120, 115, about 160 now. I trusted it and it worked. If you want it, go get it. It's not going to come to you.
My EV was about 75 and my body weight was around 155, around that. Since I joined that, I'm up to almost 180 now, and I'm hitting 80s, around mid 80s.
How much more kind of committed he was and how much more confident he became in his own progress, instead of questioning himself about, am I doing the right thing, or is this right?
Testing.
That energy could be focused on really all of the program aspects, right? Or his workouts.
Do that. If you could get on and do what you said day in, day out, it's amazing. Like a game changer.
Through your program, I just realized like how much more I could learn. I could just feel the improvement over the course like of 4 or 5 months, like you said. I could feel the improvement myself. With you being able to supply me with this type of structure, I'm able to just learn for myself and learn how to improve by myself, which makes me feel a lot better as well as a lot more accomplished in the end.
You can give him guidance and he can always ask questions to you. I could see how he became more confident after talking to you every time. You are always there when he needs. I think it's really important to know or be told from someone professional like you.
Which was a completely new experience for us. I think we were skeptical. We dove into some of the content. We realized how good it was and the quality of it. The way that you kind of worked with him and you set expectations for him. Like, hey, these are the things I'm expecting from you. And that was a big part of why we enjoyed the program as well.
The program has made me like a little eagerness to go out and do something and not just like wait for the team practice and do things on my own.
As his dad, I can tell him till I'm blue in the face that this needs to be done. And sometimes it doesn't resonate coming from the dad. Sometimes it needs to come from a pro ball player.
Through your program, I just realized like how much more I could learn. I could just feel the improvement over the course like of 4 or 5 months, like you said. With you being able to supply me with this type of structure, I'm able to just learn for myself and learn how to improve by myself, which makes me feel a lot better as well as a lot more accomplished in the end.
I definitely recommend joining it. It's awesome. The community's great. Having you there to support you is incredible, and overall love the program.
You get the full structure. You get your lifting, you get your arm velocity, you get your mechanics, you get your hitting, and you know the hands-on approach from you.
Infield velo was 68 or something like that. It was not good. My 60-yard dash was 7.7, which is not good. You know? And I was not very mobile. I wasn't very strong. I mean, I'm a big kid, but a lot of it was just like from my size. You know, my infield velo now is 80, and my 60-yard dash is 70.
It's insane. What was the root cause for all that?
I mean, it was just staying consistent with the program. I think just I had to really stay on, like focus on the path that I was trying to get. You know what I'm saying? I was trying to become elite. I was trying to get better. I know the stats at the time. I was like, oh yeah, that's not that bad. But going back and looking, that's not where I should be to play at the next level. Staying consistent with the program really helped me through that time.
I feel like now I'm really like dialed into what I'm doing. So when I do it, it's just like this before, like you talked about earlier, like it's just coming in naturally.
It felt good. I mean, it gave me my confidence shot up. I think you should join in. You do a really good job of replying back to messages, and you're really fast to help out other people with like coaching and their swings. You're a pretty good coach.
Hitting improved, touching improved, velocity went up, speed went up, everything in general went up. Before joining, I tracked my 60 time and I was running at 8.22, and then after a while, I did a showcase, and then I ran a 7.08.
What do you think leading cause for that? That's crazy jump.
Probably mobility and probably the exercises that you have in your academy that allow for growth in those little tiny muscles that people forget about.
I could tell I was hitting the ball a little bit harder, and then I got better and better. And my speed picked up with the sprinting training and all that, and I was just getting a lot better.
Tell a friend, come on.
I've definitely picked up on my hitting velo. Before I joined the program, my velo was 72 off the bat, and at this showcase, I hit 80.
That's insane, dude.
No, so when I first saw your program, you were talking about how to get to college and how to get D1 and get recruited and all this, and that had me super interested because, you know, I'm trying to go D1 and everything, try to get a scholarship and all this, and your program definitely talks about it and helps you walk through it and get you started. Honestly, I would say, like, the program definitely helped me a lot, you know, helped me work through some things, get my visualization for games and all that, just get me prepared.
Obviously, like, my program's remote. Like, have you had any trouble by doing the work that I provide you?
Not at all. It's right in front of you. You know, so it's super easy to get. Search it up, find it, and start working.
Welcome Evan Mendoza to the program.
Cardinals third baseman Evan Mendoza.
Mendoza's giving it a look, finds the railing and he tumbles over, but he made the catch. Unbelievable, Evan Mendoza.
Gran jugada en Evan Mendoza, dos joyas defensivas.
Evan Mendoza makes a great
Rounded up the middle as Mendoza throws it.
All right. Hope everyone's having a great day today. I'm messing with the mic a little bit, having a good time. Guys, we are live on Instagram. We are live on Facebook. We are live over on YouTube. YouTube's going to be where I interact with the chat the most, but hope you guys are ready for some coffee and baseball. I got my coffee right here. Let's change this scene up just a little bit. And now I'm really looking forward to it. I'm going to be doing some iPad stuff. Guys, got my Cuban coffee in here. I've been doing technically Brazilian. I've been doing Pilan, I think it is. So this is going to be my Cuban coffee. I've been doing it recently. Been enjoying it a ton. Getting caffeinated for this coffee and baseball. So I'm really looking forward to hanging out with you guys, making sure that you guys get your questions answered, most importantly, because that's what I do this for. I want to make sure that you guys get this, the insights for baseball, and I want to make sure that you guys get every question answered. So if you guys are over on Instagram, if you guys are over on YouTube, welcome in, guys. This is the first coffee and baseball of the new year. So without further notice, let's get into the 3-step. And by the way, before we get started, this is something that I always like to understand who's watching this. So if you're over on YouTube right now, let me know. Comment if you're on Instagram, if you're on Facebook. Let me know what grade your player or you are currently in. Also, let me know like what state you guys are in. I'm always super curious because we are 100% remote, and I want to make sure that I give you guys as much guidance as possible. But I'm curious, where are you guys from? What state are you guys in? That will help me out a little bit of just overall understanding where you guys are at. It looks like we got some Florida, we got a Georgia, California. Okay, early morning for you guys. That makes sense with the coffee. That gets me going for sure. No, guys, but no, this has been a lot of fun. Obviously, we have a Colorado high school batting coach. Always good to know like basically who I'm talking to and who I can make this a little bit more refined towards, right? because let's be honest, if you guys are all college baseball players or parents of college baseball players, my conversation with you is going to be a lot different than if you guys were all in 8th grade, as you can imagine, right? Or if your player is in 8th grade. We got Kentucky, we got Louisiana, we got Pennsylvania, son's an 11th grader. We got Vermont. Okay, let's go. Olympia, Washington. That's awesome. High school freshman, fall of 2023. Okay, let's get into it, guys. So let's talk about Louisville. Oh, I loved playing in Louisville. We stayed at the Omni whenever we played against the Louisville Bats. But yeah, 1 junior and 1 freshman. I appreciate all your guys' involvement. That's going to be super, super important. And as you can tell, maybe I need to point this way. So you can always, if you're on YouTube, scan any of these QR codes. At the very end, I'm actually going to be doing calling up people. I'm going to call people up. And that's what that top QR code is, where it says call in. I'm going to be reaching out. And then that way, if you guys have any specific questions and you want to talk directly to me, that's what we'll do. We got Maryland in the house. For those that don't know, I was born in Baltimore, Maryland, grew up an Orioles fan, and actually went to Severna Park High School my freshman year of high school. So let's get into it, guys. Let's talk about the 3-step system from being overlooked to landing real college offers. So as far as the agenda, because I want to make sure that, like, if you guys have no goals of making it to the end, like, at least you'll know what we're going to be talking about here today. So I'm going to go over a little bit about why you should even listen to me and my background as a pro player and a D1 athlete. A quick overview of basically where you guys are currently at and what we're going to cover. And by the end of this webinar, you'll understand exactly why most players get overlooked and ultimately how to prevent it. So what exactly are we going to be covering? So we're going to talk about some common mistakes high school players and parents, and sometimes even coaches, will be making in this process, and what's preventing them from really taking action and starting up their car, right? If you think about driving to the grocery store, the very first thing that you need to do once you get into the car is turn on the ignition. Where families will go wrong, where players will go wrong, and ultimately leads to them being overlooked, how to prevent it, and ultimately, guys, what you're probably here for is how to stand out and how to land those college scholarships. So let's go over it. Guys, my background, I am who I say I am. I played 6 years with the St. Louis Cardinals organization. 1 year, I got minor league Rule 5 over to the San Diego Padres, so I spent 1 year with the Padres. I was in One World Baseball Classic representing Columbia, which is where my dad's from. I spent 3 years at NC State University. So I'm here to share all of that knowledge with you. Before we really get into it, I always like to honor my hero, my agent, my advisor, my role model, and really the individual that really took me under his wing. Jim McCandless, he was my freshman year high school coach in Severna Park, Maryland. And he's no longer with us, but really he took me under his wing. I love that picture of me in the striped polo. That was at our banquet at the end of the year. That's what it felt like the entire time I was playing for him. He made sure to protect me in a weird way. Truly, I was on varsity as a freshman, and I took a junior's starting spot at second base, and then they realized I was a pretty good defender, so they moved me from second base to shortstop. The current shortstop at the time was a senior. So what I like to always say is I was swimming in bloody waters, and there were definitely a lot of sharks out there that, as you can imagine, didn't really believe that I should have been on varsity. They felt like I was getting a handout. As you can imagine, some other parents of freshmen and sophomores, juniors, and seniors all kind of hated on me, and he just made sure that I was in a good environment to grow. So I always like to go over who Coach McCandless was and how he helped me in my development and really my confidence. So let's talk about the hidden truth about college baseball recruiting. So a lot of players, families, coaches don't realize that less than 7% of all high school baseball players will play in college. And by the way, guys, we're not talking about gymnastics or tennis or track and field. What you've come to this webinar for is because you probably have a high school baseball player or you love baseball in some regards and you want to learn a little bit more. So less than 7% will play in college, and talent nowadays, because obviously it's very, very competitive, talent isn't enough anymore. You have to talk about the academic side of things, the leadership, the attitude, and there's really 3 critical mistakes that most players will derail their journey in high school baseball, and especially that journey and that bridge into college baseball, which is really the recruiting black hole, the development trap, and the guidance gap. So let's go over one by one. So the recruiting black hole. This is usually around junior year, maybe sophomore year, where families will really feel this. Senior year, it's the panic button without a doubt. But no responses from college coaches, no communication. The emails that you are sending out very not so often are just kind of getting lost into the void. And highlight videos, you never know if they're actually being watched and what's actually going on in that whole process. Showcases, sometimes you guys are investing tons of money for a 1 day, maybe like a 4-hour showcase that leads to nothing. And that's, obviously very frustrating. And I was through that college recruiting process. I went to showcases and camps that, kind of sucked away my money or my family's money, and it wasn't super efficient. But let's talk about the development trap. So this is where I think a lot of players will go wrong, is because their average metrics are holding them back, right? Running times, as far as their 60 or maybe 5'10" 5 times, that really don't compete with athletes. Maybe their throwing velocity doesn't necessarily turn heads of scouts, and maybe the exit velocities that just simply don't impress anyone. It kind of feels like your son might be swinging a wet newspaper. Anyway, working hard, your son's probably working hard, but he's just not seeing those results. And, falling behind, your son's probably falling behind those more gifted players in your mind. Like, there's that gifted player on the team. Oh, he was just super talented from 3 years old. No. Yes. Yes and no. Of course he needs to be gifted in some regards, but your son's gifted too. It's really the work that individual probably put in that is causing your son to fall behind those more athletic players. So the guidance gap is the one that's a little bit more nuanced for the more experienced and seasoned high school baseball player, where you start getting conflicting advice from multiple different sources, whether that's a high school coach, a travel ball coach, a hitting coach, a pitching coach, and you don't know what to believe. There's so many different sources, there's so much noise that's out there, and there's really no proven roadmap that you need to follow. So there's no accountability or really no structure in that roadmap. And that leads to your son kind of second guessing every decision that you guys are making. So what is this impact of your son's game, not only on the field, but we're going to talk about what's off the field as well. So on the field, it might result as, less playing time in those critical moments. Maybe the coach is just simply not trusting your son in those big situations. Maybe he's falling behind those competition. He's frustrated because he's working out in the gym and he's working really hard, but he's just not necessarily growing. And of course, on the mental impact, right? The confidence is something that I talk with my students all the time. And, with the declining confidence of just not seeing or breaking through those plateaus or every strikeout, all those setbacks, your son might decline in confidence one day at a time. And that constant comparison of teammates, as we all know, like that comparison to others is the thief of joy, right? And we don't want to compare ourselves. We want to be the best version of ourselves competing against ourselves. So this could also lead to some self-doubt about your son's potential of playing college baseball and feeling like he's letting the family down. This is very, very true to at home for me. If my family invested time in going to a showcase or, we drove 20 hours, yes, true story, to a college camp. And if I didn't perform well, I felt like I was letting my entire family down. And we don't want your son to feel that pressure or that weight, right? So let's talk about those long-term consequences if nothing changes. So, your son could be settling for lower division programs, walking on instead of earning those scholarship and helping with that academic money. Getting cut from college teams, yes, that is a thing. You can earn a scholarship to play for a specific university, but if you do not perform, you will get cut and you're not going to be on the travel roster. You might not even get to practice in the spring semester. Your son also might carry that what if regret for years. He might be a normal student at the university looking at the baseball team saying, oh man, I wish I worked a little bit harder. I wish I took it a little bit more serious. I wish X, Y, and Z, right? He also could be seeing some of his teammates back in high school, his current teammates right now, progress to those D1 or D2 programs. And you're like, man, why was that not me? What was the difference, right? I don't want your son to look at those opportunities and have that regret at the end of the day. So in my opinion, the solution really is the triple play and making sure that we have everything under one umbrella. So with the strategic recruiting, we want to make sure that we have a proven outreach system to make sure that college coaches are actually watching our videos, making sure that we're building relationships with these programs. And just a raise of hands, if you guys are on YouTube, Instagram, what have you, I'm kind of curious, who has actually sent an email to a college coach before? Has anybody sent an email to a college coach before? Show of hands, maybe just say me in the chat. Anybody whatsoever, has anybody sent an email to a college coach? I'm looking at the chat right now over on Instagram. It looks like a couple of people, and without doubt, like that is something, you know, we have someone over on TikTok that, yes, they have sent an email to a college coach, and that's good. Obviously, I want you to send an email, and hopefully it does not look like this, right? Hopefully it doesn't look so unprofessional where it says, dear coach, you know, whatever, I want to play at your university. It just kind of screams like, pick me, pick me. You know, I hit 400, including, you know, stats, not metrics, and I'm ready to go D1. And it's just very sloppy. It's not a great experience for that specific coach, right? On the other side of things, there's probably some parents listening in to this webinar right now who has actually sent an email that looks like this now. And without even you guys, you know, showing of the hands, I already know you parents, yes, you parents, because kids don't write long paragraphs like this. Parents will send their entire life story, and I'm going to be honest with you because I receive these from parents, and I'm not even a college coach. And guys, I skim them because I don't have the time to read every single sentence, right? And it's not that important. You're just jumbling up a ton of information into one, and it's really not the most effective strategy. So at the end of the day, what we have to do when we're sending out these emails is when a traffic light goes down because there's no power in the area, we need to become that traffic officer that directs traffic. We have to do the same. Yes, we have to do the same. Because again, your son's competition, it's 7% will go play any level of college baseball. Less than 2% will play D1 baseball, and a small fraction will actually start at that respective D1 university. So your son's competition, I promise you, are not a bunch of business professionals, but this is a picture of about 100 people. If your son is in a room, or let's just say at a showcase full of 100 people, 7 might go and play college baseball. Maybe 2 of those 7 might go to play D1, and maybe just 1 of those 100 will actually start at that D1 college program. So a lot of high school baseball players will say that they want to go D1, but not many are willing to become that traffic officer guiding that traffic. And that's exactly what we need to do in our emails. We need to make sure that we're guiding that traffic. We're sending them to maybe a perfect game, a PBR. For this individual, this was someone that lived in the Pacific Northwest, if I could talk. And we also wanted to include a quick edited 30-second highlight video, so that way we're respective of these college coaches' time. Now, a little bit of a change of pace. Who has sent an email? And I would assume probably the same majority of people, but who has sent an email with either a perfect game link or a link to a highlight video? I'm curious on if anybody has done that. More than likely, okay, we see some people in the chat over on TikTok, some on Instagram. We got some on Facebook as well, and some on on YouTube as well. Yes, and without a doubt, that is a good way of going about it. And I'm happy that you're making that progress. But let's say one of those college coaches are actually clicking on one of those emails. They're basically raising their eyebrow. Who is this kid? Who's your son? Who's your son? They're asking themselves that internally because that's what forces the click, right? So now, show of hands, who's actually tracking if that college coach is opening your email? Yes, opening. Not necessarily opening the highlight video, but like, you know how like on your phone you have the inbox and you can swipe through all of your inbox without actually opening up an email? Okay, let's say they see a recruiting email from your son, click, and they've actually opened it up. Who's actually tracking that? Okay, now show of hands, or maybe, in the chat. Who's tracking if that college coach is actually clicking within the body of the email inside on that perfect game link or that PBR link or the Pacific Northwest baseball or the 30-second highlight video click? Is anybody tracking those things? Because again, if we want to be that 1% that actually plays at that D1 university, if we want that 2% that might go play D2 baseball or Division I baseball, I should say, or if we just want to be simply in that 7%, why are we not doing these things that 7% of probably all high school baseball players are doing? And if you're thinking to yourself, there's no possible way of doing that, I'm about to absolutely blow your mind, because this is the strategic recruiting that my students use inside my academy, where we have a strategy for that coach that we sent the email to, but they didn't open it up. They didn't click it, right? We have a strategy for that coach. We also have a strategy, of course, for that individual that responded to our email. We also have that strategy for who's opened the email but just for whatever reason didn't click on the video. There might have been a reason, maybe they were too busy, but we have a strategy behind that, and that's the importance of making sure that we stay interactive with keeping these data. We're collecting this data. And then last but not least, let's say that they clicked on our email, clicked within our email also, and clicked on that perfect game or that highlight video. They raised that eyebrow. We want to have some level of a strategy for that individual as well. Just want to give you guys a heads up. If you're on YouTube, if you're watching this stream on Facebook as well, you can scan the QR code. I believe it's right up here that says call in, and I'm going to be calling some individuals out, some visitors, just to be able to have those questions. If you have a specific questions, we're not going to tolerate any nonsense, but if you have a specific question and you want to ask me directly, you can do that. You can also just add it in the chat and I'll come back to it. All right. So we have to think about it. Are we presenting, your son in a professional way? Because you only get one first impression, right? And when we think about first impressions, think about like job interviews, right? Like, sometimes your son's going to be stacked up against a stack of job applications, right? Or resumes. Emails are somewhat similar. So that's the strategic recruiting. As far as the elite development, we're going to talk about baseball specific training, getting college ready offers, performance tracking system. So let's talk about what your son is probably doing right here today. He's probably doing the Notes app workout program. More than likely. There's probably, I speak to probably hundreds of families every single month, and I would say probably 70% are doing the Notes app workout program, where your son sees cool videos on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok, and he puts them together because he's good enough to write that program and because they look cool and they look like they might be able to help, right? Or maybe you're in that other like 30% where your son's doing somewhat of a program. It might be at a facility, a baseball specific facility, props, or he's just doing what the high school program calls, right? And that is a start, right? But I truly believe the reason that I was able to play D1 baseball and get drafted, it's because what I did in the shadows that shine bright under the lights. What I mean by the shadows is when I look to the left and the right, when I was at the YMCA at 10 o'clock at night on a Friday night, I didn't see any of my teammates. They were all at the football game. They were all partying. They were having a good time. They were enjoying themselves. Well, I was enjoying myself at the gym. I truly enjoyed the fact that I want to ultimately play D1 baseball, and I'm willing to make those sacrifices. So again, my high school program, the lifting and the skill development, guys, it was very intense. So I went to Sarasota High School, and back when I was at high school in like 2013, really to date myself, if you Googled who has the most MLB draft picks, which high school has the most MLB draft picks, Sarasota High School in Sarasota, Florida would have come up first and front and center, right? So our program really focused on developing really good talented baseball players. And it was very, very demanding, right? And a lot of people probably just don't even comprehend what high school programs can look like, but I promise you, like, I would get home usually at like 4 o'clock if I didn't do any extra work. But sometimes it takes that sacrifice of doing that extra work and finding the time to truly prioritize playing college baseball like I did. I'll never forget, like, after school we had lift from probably like 2 to 4. And I remember I would always ask the coach for the keys to the cage to do extra throwing in, especially in the fall and winter time to prep for the season, to get extra swings in by myself for like an extra 2 hours. And I would always tell my mom that picked me up, hey, pick me up at like 6:30, right? Give me plenty of time to get that extra work in. I'd listen to music by myself, hit off the tee by myself, throw long toss with myself inside the cage. I made it work. I did the work, right? One of my favorite quotes from my dad was actually, if you are doing what everyone else is doing, you better expect to get just as good as everyone else. You better develop on that curve just as quickly as everyone else. And I wasn't okay with that, and neither is your son. So inside the elite development, this is where we actually have a New York Mets strength and conditioning coach writing out those workout programs for our students. They are baseball specific, there are video demonstrations, and we've taken into account the volume for in-season and off-season. So a lot of people will love to ask me, like, hey, can we do this now, or should we wait until maybe the summer, until after baseball season? It's like, well, no, like baseball season, it's a great time to get that started. So absolutely, yes, we can do it in season, and it's actually preferred. Inside the season also, we want to make sure that we're talking about the sprinting program, mobility modules to increase that flexibility, because we do want to be mobile athletes at the end of the day, not just the strongest athletes in the world, right? So now we've covered the strategic recruiting and the elite development, but let's talk about professional guidance. So with that expert mentorship, the accountability system, and having a clear roadmap to success. So this is what professional guidance really does look like. This is some of my students that have joined in since the new year, and obviously very excited for them to take that leap into joining into the program. We also have weekly check-ins. So the weekly check-ins are really an accountability system to make sure that your son is actually staying on track with what he needs to do. So that way he's able to track his metrics and see his numbers increase and ultimately go up and to the right? I studied aerospace engineering at NC State, so I love seeing the numbers, I love seeing the data, and that's exactly what we collect. So we collect these data for all of my students to see what their progress has been looking like throughout the weeks inside my program, right? And for exit velocity and let's say arm velocity, we want to see that up and to the right, usually around like the 2 to 3 month mark. For 5-10-5s, for any type of sprint work, we of course want to see that down and to the right as well. So for the process of ultimately wanting to make sure that we have the best quality development, we are constantly testing and reassessing with everything that we've got going on, right? So it's really important that we want to make sure that we are eliminating plateaus, because plateaus are naturally going to come in to our development. And it came into my development as well around freshman year and also around senior year, or more or less freshman year of college, but where I felt like I just wasn't progressing as fast as I used to around sophomore, junior year of high school. So we also need to think about like, why does this really work? And even though it's a remote based program, like how does it even work? So the consistent feedback loop and congruency. So as far as just like comparing, your local hitting coach, right? Because that's a pretty common one. It's like, okay, well, how does this make you different than, going to a hitting lesson? Well, going to a hitting lesson, let's just say that you go to once a week. We're talking about 4 hours a month. It's kind of laughable. 4 hours a month. Do you really think that your son is going to be able to make the progress in 4 hours a month, right? Yes, he's getting a little bit more, hands-on work. He's right there. But like for the serious students that work with me inside my program, it's not the first time that they're picking up a bat, for goodness sake, right? We don't need to teach them how to hold the bat, right? We're talking about higher level approach, mental approach inside the game for hitting. Yes, we can talk about mechanics every once in a while, but the bigger issue, usually around that sophomore, junior, senior years, when we start facing that higher velocity, what should our approach be like? Are we even able to have those conversations with our hitting coach? And if we do, can we text them at any hour of the day and basically get a response, right? Also, are they really providing any type of like personalized lifting program or speed program, or is your hitting coach exposing you to basically college coaches? Probably not. Is he developing a recruiting strategy? Probably not. Does he work on your mental game and increase overall baseball IQ on like defensive gameplay, even though he's a hitting coach? Probably not, right? So as far as the congruency goes, this is where ideally we want to have everything under one umbrella in one place. So this is my favorite example for congruency, because this is on a very few occasions I've actually spoken to probably a handful of families that, no joke, and this is me kind of exaggerating, have a hitting coach, have a pitching coach, have a personal trainer for the gym, have a speed coach. I remember joking with them on the call, do their son have a sleeping coach, a nutritionist, a hydration coach, right? A mental strength coach? Like how many more resources do you really need? And are they all in the same place, or do they have different beliefs? So if we go to a McDonald's and we get a soda, right? And let's just say my favorite flavor is Dr. Pepper. It really is Mr. Pibb, but let's just say Dr. Pepper. If I put a little bit of water, a little bit of Diet Dr. Pepper, a little bit of Fanta, High C, Coke, Powerade, Dr. Pepper, Sprite, Diet Coke, and Coke. If I put a little bit into my cup and I fill it all the way to the top, and I take a sip and I'm like, yeah, like not the best, right? Not the best. I like Dr. Pepper and I can't even really taste it, right? So Dr. Pepper is like a philosophy, an ideology, a theory, not necessarily theory, but like it's someone's mindset on how things should be done for the most part. And if that's your son's favorite way of learning the game of baseball, drink the Dr. Pepper. Don't necessarily drink every single other flavor. Just fill your cup with basically what works for your son. So that makes sure that everything is on the same page, and ultimately what we're doing is limiting injuries. And hopefully this all made sense, because it should eliminate confusion when you have 7 different people telling you 7 different things. That's also going to maximize production because ultimately we have a little bit more of a structured focus on an action plan rather than, you know, listening to 7 other people and kind of feeling stuck and maybe spinning your wheels. So that's the triple play with the recruiting, the development, and also the guidance. And the good thing is it doesn't just work for me because obviously the things that I teach, I obviously practice what I preach, but you know, Enzo's made a commitment, Nick's had a commitment, Ian's had a commitment, Ty has gotten a commitment from North Dakota, Aiden from Illinois decreased his 60 time from an 8.2 to a 7.1. That's insane, guys. That's over a second. That's 1.1 second in, I think it was about 4 or 5 months. Ty, again, committed from North Dakota. You know, right here, JT, he, as a freshman, he's a sophomore now, but as a freshman a year ago, he was deadlifting 400 pounds. 400 pounds as a freshman. Anyway, guys, you don't have to watch all these testimonials. They're probably boring to you because you start to see other people's success and you also start thinking like, why isn't that my son? Well, probably because you guys aren't as structured as a lot of my students. But you don't have to watch them all. It's really, you know, they're all on my YouTube page. You can see plenty of testimonials. And it's really just to make sure that you guys understand that the program works and also players have gone through this process, and that's why I feel so confident that it does work. So next up, what I want to share with you guys is a little bit of a demo of how everything operates, right? So this is you know, an inside look of what the triple play program really truly does look like. So let's get into it. So this is the triple play. Your son will come in, watch the must watch video, and that's where he's going to ultimately start. Inside the 14-day challenge, we really focus on staying consistent with the sprinting program. And number 2, we want to send out emails within 14 days. This is basically the 14-day document. Your son's going to make a copy. Most importantly, he's going to schedule an onboarding call. And in that onboarding call, we talk about an action plan moving forward. They're going to be sprinting program. There's building the outreach, recruiting outreach system. You know, final prep before, ideally, what I'll get back into. At the end of the 14 days and whenever your son has finished everything up, he's going to schedule out a launch call. And that's where we actually click send together. Now, as far as on the workout programs, on the physical side, all of my workout programs are, of course, mobile friendly. Your son's going to be able to download a lift. And for example, this is a lift for one specific day. And if your son doesn't know what a half kneeling landmine press looks like, he clicks it and he sees the example exactly how to do it. So it's very, very interactive, obviously mobile friendly. If I didn't make this mobile friendly, guys, shame on me. But let's, I also want to go over a little bit of my courses because I think this is really important as well. So I use visual examples to better explain basically any of my concepts that I'm teaching, right? So as you can tell up here, I'm talking through examples, and right here you can see basically what I should be looking for in a specific movement. It could be a specific drill, but ultimately what we're doing is teaching what's right and what's wrong, and then that way we're able to visualize and most importantly implement everything. So that is a little bit of a demo of how the program works with the course material, also the physical work, and of course the recruiting side, making sure that we get launched up as soon as possible. So now we have to really truly think to ourselves, like, what is this costing you and your player by not having that structured program in place? We do have to think about average D1 metrics as far as 90 arm velo, 95 exit velocity, a 6.7, 60. But you also have to think about what is this costing you guys by not having a recruiting strategy, by not tracking these very critical metrics that help us guide conversations with college coaches and give us that sense of security that these emails are actually getting delivered to where we're sending them to. And in my opinion, guys, this is something where I want you guys to be very, very clear cut on what I'm about to tell you. Because this is the part that a lot of people don't tell you. And I'm here to share it with you because this is what moves the needle at the end of the day. If you didn't listen to a single thing that I just talked about, listen to this. And the first one, you're gonna be like, really, dude? You have you have 3 options. You could work with us and that would be awesome. I'm gonna focus on this one a little bit more than working with us, right? Because you could work with someone else. You could work with someone else on the physical side and getting a strength training program for, you know, at a baseball specific facility. Typically what you're going to be doing is doing a lot of more group work. And again, that's when you look to your left and right, you're still going to see teammates, you're still going to see people, and you still aren't developing that structure to do the work yourself or for your son. You could also do a hitting coach, get some instruction there. You could also build out a recruiting strategy with a recruiting service. I don't want to say names, but there are 4-letter words or organizations associated with IMG that, you know, a lot of people will go down the path and realize that they're not going to get any specific and personalized actionable advice. You're just going to get a huge database. So you have all the options to work with someone else. If you can find someone that you really want to make sure on the physical, on the mental, and the recruiting all under one umbrella. The thing that I also want to really emphasize very clearly to you guys is you could just do nothing at all. But like, what good is that going to do if you do nothing at all today, you do nothing at all tomorrow, you do nothing 2 months from now, you do nothing in 1 year or 2 years from now, and then your son's going to be a senior going into his senior season, not communicating with any college coaches. So that's the most dangerous one that I want you guys to stay away from. Choose option 1 or 2. 1, work with us. Option 2, work with someone else. Because ideally, you're at this stage of this webinar, like, you know, you're looking for some resources at the end of the day. So what is this costing you and your player by not having that plan in place? Ultimately, the biggest cost is your son's dreams might never come true. And he might live with that regret when he's at college and he's looking at the baseball team saying, what if, right? So that's the cost. Well, what's the price of not having that plan in place? I think it's really important to talk about price and cost because some of you guys are so fixated on how much does it cost to work with you? And I get it, right? That's common. I'm not a parent, but I would probably be very curious as well. I will tell you, it is not $43,000 to work with me. I want to be very clear. It is not that expensive. I do not consider it tuition at that point. But if we're talking about tuition, let's average out in-state tuition for 4 years, about $108,000. Out of state, $182,000. Private, $234,000. We average those together, and if we were able to secure just a 25% scholarship, a baseball scholarship for 25%, that's $43,000 that you guys could be, you know, could be getting. You're leaving it on the table. And your son's probably one of those players that might be on the fence as far as getting a scholarship and maybe not getting a scholarship. And also with the NCAA rules changing, there's more scholarships available to baseball teams, but every day that passes, there's less scholarships. And that's something I'm going to talk about here in a second. But I do want to make sure that you guys also know, like, we are not a recruiting service. As you can tell, I talk about the physical development and really the player development because that's something that I learned when I was with the Cardinals, when I was with the Padres, is player development is this sphere inside of an organization, a massive organization like the Cardinals or the Padres. Under player development, you have the skill development, think hitting, pitching, throwing, fielding, that's skill work. You also have physical development, that's getting after it in the gym. Mental development, knowing the game, knowing what to do with the ball, bunt defense, cutoffs and relays, you need to have that IQ. Also, mental development kind of branches off into two, so the IQ is important, but also how to deal with failure is an important one as well. There's also the nutrition side. That's developing players as well because that helps in the process as well when everything else is done right. The hydration is important. So player development is this massive sphere, and ideally what you guys are focusing on is like just physical development, maybe in the gym, or just skill development with, you know, just a hitting coach. But we are also not a placement service. I think that's something that kind of frustrates me because no one ethically can guarantee scholarships, right? We do work with select few that I actually put the liability in a way on myself because I'll be the one reaching out for your son, but that's on like if your son's throwing 90 miles an hour, for example, and I feel like in a way I feel bad that your son's not committed yet. I'm like, let's get this done right here, right now. But like ethically speaking, like no one can absolutely guarantee it. If anything, I can just like expedite that process, and that's my highest end program. But we're also just like not a middleman networking vehicle. I think that's another interesting thing. Like parents have come to me asking for like, what connections do you have? And it's like, I don't care about the connections I have. I care about the connections that you guys are going to be able to generate for yourself and understanding that system behind it. Because again, you can give a fish to a hungry man one day and they're going to be fulfilled that one day. But if you teach them how to fish, they're never going to go hungry again, right? So if we're thinking about recruiting and development, guys, the number one way to earn a baseball scholarship, and again, I just want to be very, very clear cut on this. Step number one is be a good baseball player. Be a good baseball player. And that's exactly what I'm going to help your player with. I'm going to help him maximize his true potential. So what now? What now? We're Lightning McQueen. We got the fork in the road. What should we do now? And I will say, like, you can book a call with us if you're on Instagram. There's a link down below to book a call with either myself or a team member. But let's talk about what now, because you do have options, right? You know that you're serious. You know your son's serious about the game, and what should you do now? So maybe it's freshman year. I think I saw a couple of freshmen or parents of freshmen in here as well. You're in that fork in the road. You don't know if you should go left. You don't know if you should go right. Fair enough. You're going to find yourself somewhere in the middle, maybe in Missouri, somewhere in the Midwest, right? You're trying to go from New York to Los Angeles, let's just say. Sophomore year rolls around. I think I saw a couple of sophomore parents in the chat as well. You're still kind of in that same position because you haven't really gotten a ton of guidance. You don't know what to do, and your son still is working hard, but kind of on his own, and you haven't seen the progress that you've wanted to see. Junior year, kind of the same story. You're kind of spinning your wheels in place, haven't really found that solution. And then senior year, we're panicking, right? That will happen because I speak to families all the time where senior year, and you can just hear it in their voice. They're scared. They don't know what's going to happen these next 6 months, right? So again, like junior year, sophomore year, freshman year, like what happened that really caused us to hit that panic button? You guys forgot to turn the key. You forgot to start the ignition. Like I talked about in the beginning of this call, guys, if you forget to turn the key, you forget to turn the ignition on to the car, how are you even supposed to make a left, or you're supposed to even make a right? At the end of the day, what you're going to be really doing is just staying put throughout your son's journey in high school. So what should you do now? If you want to work with us, you can always book a call down below in the description to learn a little bit more about the triple play and schedule out that eligibility review. And basically, if we believe that we can help you guys out, we'll let you know. We're going to build out that roadmap for you guys on that call, and also make sure that what you guys need is something that you guys actually need. So that way we can build out that program and making sure that it's a specific program for you guys. If some of you guys are also on YouTube as well, I'm happy about the result, by the way. Give everyone that's in attendance right now some clapping emojis, or like congrats, or some exclamation points, because like you guys are all taking care of what needs to be taken care of. Typically, it's parents in here that are trying to get a little bit more guidance for their player, and at the end of the day, you guys are good parents for doing this research on your own time. It does not have to be a part-time job, by the way, and that's what it turns into if you're taking the complete ownership rather than your son. And then again, that's a shift that I want a lot of my students to understand, is like the focus needs to be on them doing the work, them emailing these college coaches. They don't need mom or dad emailing these college coaches. So like congratulate you guys, because you guys are putting in that extra work to make sure that your son is getting the best resources. But if you guys are looking for some additional resources, you can always check out my YouTube channel. Tons and tons of great advice, value. At the end of the day, it's going to be a lot of like tip of the iceberg compared to the rest of the guidance that I will give my students inside my program. But if you guys are serious, and you're serious about playing at that next level, and this is a little bit of a bonus that I wanted to share with you guys specifically for anybody live in attendance today. So only for the 5 students who sign up, the first 5 students who will sign up, I'm going to personally help write your son's email together on our onboarding call after enrollment. So this is going to be absolutely spotless. You do not have to proofread the email. If you're the parent listening to this, you do not need to be super involved, because I want to make sure that these emails, number one, sound like a baseball player and are absolutely spotless for these college coaches, to ensure that most colleges are going to not only open them, but click on them and respond. So you can book a call on my website, or down below in the description if you're on Instagram, or if you're on YouTube, down below in the description if you're on Instagram, always in my bio. But I always get it every day. It's not the right time. So what is the right time? Is there such thing as a perfect time? If there's that perfect time, what does that look like? Are you planning on being less busy at work? Are you planning on your son being less busy with baseball? Like, is that really part of the plan? So what is, like, more than likely right now is going to be the time where your son's the least busy. If you're chasing a next promotion in work, like right now, you're probably going to be less busy than you will be in 3 months or in 6 months. So remember, especially for your son, there are more scholarship opportunities today than there will be tomorrow. And I'm going to repeat that because I think that's very important for you guys to understand. With how quickly the recruiting landscape changes, the NCAA rules, NIL, it's becoming super competitive. So again, there are more scholarship opportunities today as we speak than there will be tomorrow. Because guess what happens it's 11:47 right now. What happens at 12 o'clock when a college coach calls up a student and he says, hey, or a student athlete, hey, we want you at Arkansas. And the student says, yep, I want to be a Razorback. Ding, there's one less opportunity for your son. So you can always, click the link in the book link in my bio on Instagram or in the description here on YouTube. And what you'll see is a simple calendar. It's pretty simple from there. If you can figure it out, good for you. If you can't figure it out, we're probably not a good fit for each other. But anyway, I always love the quote also because this is something that really helped me out. And we're about to start Q&A. So if you guys do have any questions around baseball development, physical, mental, recruiting, let me know. We'll also backlog for some of the other questions that were asked earlier so they don't get lost. But I always love this quote, guys. Do today what others won't, so tomorrow you can do what others can't. And I also do have a little bit of a cool announcement that hopefully you guys are as excited as me. But if anybody can guess what 1 of 50 means, that would be awesome. I'm not going to make you guys like sit around too much, like wondering what in the world is Evan going to announce? What is this cool announcement? What does he think is so cool? Well, today is day 1 of 50. Day 1 of 50. Okay, 1 of 50 of what? Well, I'm going to be streaming every single day, excluding Sundays at 11 a.m. Eastern time for 1 hour. So this is going to be coffee and baseball. I love my Cuban coffee. I love my Brazilian coffee, Pilan or whatever. It's kind of like a Cafe Bustelo. It's like compressed, it's vacuum sealed, it's espresso. But anyway, I love my coffee and I love my baseball and I love also helping you guys out. So I'm going to be streaming every single day for 1 hour. So that way you know on repeat, I'm going to be live specifically for the parents. I like talking, especially at 11 a.m. So that way I'm talking more to the parents. Hopefully, if you see your kid in the chat, you can tell them, tell them what's up, to not be on their phone at school. But that's the reason that I'm doing this, to ultimately talk baseball, to talk recruiting, to talk development, right? I want to make sure that you guys get all the guidance that you truly need in a game of baseball and to be able to have your questions answered and to make sure that you get that from a trusted source like myself. So, like I said, guys, you can always call in by scanning that QR code. What we're going to do now is going to do a couple of player profiles. So if there are any questions or any players or anyone that wants like a breakdown, I've got my iPad right here. So I'm going to basically go over specific people's situations in the chat or people that call in. So just because I want to be fair to everyone else, is I'm going to go ahead and actually, what I'll do is take that off. And then what I'm going to go ahead and do is actually go to the call-ins first, just because I want to make sure that I get you guys taken care of first. But yeah, I'm going to be doing call-ins. If you guys also have any specific questions, feel free to drop them below in the chat. And then that way I can make sure to get any questions answered for you guys. So let's actually just take care of this one real quick before we get started. So my son's a 15-year-old. So 15-year-old, I'm not sure what grade that is. Pitcher question. Right. Should he be receiving physical therapy, take care of his arm if he was hurt? Yeah. But also, I think I have noticed his waist is not loose with his bats. Such a thing of being too tight. So yeah, like he might have like some issues with shoulder separation, making sure that he basically separates his lower body and upper body. But yeah, guys, let's go through the chat. Just make sure that I get everyone that joined in and asked questions. But again, guys, we're going to be doing a Q&A for anybody in specific situations. If you want to give me all of this information, that's going to help me out a ton as far as like, grade, position, exit velocity, arm velocity, 60 dash. And that way I can give you some level of clarity on like what direction to go as far as like development. So let's see. Does size actually matter in baseball? So yes and no. So I always like to also just kind of like write it out, right? So there were players that, depending on your position, like a second baseman, you can get away with being like 5'9" in pro ball, in the MLB, right? You can also be a center fielder who tracks crazy well in center field that is, again, 5'9", right? If you run your 60 in like a 6.4, right? if you're 5'9" and your 60 is a 7'1", let's talk about that Kirk guy with the Blue Jays. Your OPS and your power numbers ultimately need to be like 800 plus, right? Because at the end of the day, like that's where that value is going to be getting for that specific individual, right? So we need to think about those things. Size does matter in some regards as far as like position. Like first base, you want to be a little bit taller. Pitchers, technically, you want to be taller, right? So let's actually talk about that real quick because I think that's an important one. There are right-handed pitchers and left-handed pitchers that are probably like 5'11" or maybe like 5'10". Think like a Stroman. Like he's not super tall, right? He's not the most tall pitcher in the world, and ideally pitchers are supposed to be a little bit taller. It's just something to keep in mind. What metrics matter most in baseball? So let's go over that right now. So metrics are a funny thing because this is where we talk about player profile, and I don't mean like PG, I don't mean PBR, I don't mean any of these things. What I mean by player profile, it's like what do you bring to the table for your respective basically team, right? Like how do you help your team out at the end of the day? If you run a 60 like less than, let's just say like a 6.8, you're a speedster, right? This is what you bring to the table. You can steal bags, you can be on base, and ideally that's how you help your team ultimately win at the end of the day. Now, if you're a double guy, a two-bagger, or like a home run guy, that's your power, right? That's where exit velocity is going to be really prevalent, that you have that 100-mile-an-hour exit velo off the tee with a wood bat. That's that power component that you want to make sure that you're bringing to the team to help drive in runs. RBIs are going to be huge, right, for individuals like this, right? But if we talk about arm strength, like if you have like a 95 outfield arm, that's where like typically you'll find yourself maybe like in right field, because right fielders tend to usually have the strongest arm out of the outfield positions, right? Of course, that can vary every once in a while, but these are some important things. Obviously, like pop time for catchers, you need to have a good pop time because there's only one catcher on the field. So these are some areas that you definitely want to make sure that you're taking care of when you're focusing on that physical development, whether you're in the gym, whether you're doing that skill development. Those things matter a ton. So make sure that you're not neglecting any of those things, because I see it all the time where players just simply neglect those things and they face the truth. But yeah, let's see. Patricia Keene, let's go over your question here in a second. So PG showcases, college camps, is one better than the other for recruiting? So PG and there we go. And showcases, that's the same thing, because PG is a showcase. If we're really talking about it, if I were to differentiate themselves, it's PG camps, so like college camps, and then tournaments. So more than likely, you could have also meant PG as a tournament, because they also have tournaments, they also have showcases. But let's kind of break these down one by one to help you get that truest understanding of what's what, basically, at the end of the day. Because these are the things that will matter a ton. So like in showcases, typically they're 1 to 2 day event. You will do the 60 followed by outfield arm, sometimes followed by infield arm, corner infield arm, catcher pop, and then maybe like one scrimmage game, right? That's what's going to happen typically on day 1, and then day 2 is like one scrimmage, one game, right? So that's basically what's going to happen at a showcase. Very, very clear cut. What is your 60? What is your arm velo, whether it's infield or outfield? If you're a catcher, you're going to do this. Oh, I forgot to put like BP right here. And that's where you get quite literally 10 swings. That is it. So sometimes these showcases, these perfect game events are like $1,000 for this, right? You get your perfect game profile up there, you get some videos, and yes, like it helps because it's a trusted database, but it's like $1,000 for a few hours. Kind of crazy, right? Now, let's talk about college camps, because at the end of the day, college camps are really good for relationship building. That's where you can shake hands, you know, more like one-on-one, basically, with college coaches or assistants, and basically get well known with those specific individuals as well. It's more going to be practice reps rather than evaluation events, because like an evaluation event is really any of these, right? Eval events, that's what I always refer to. These practice reps, that's going to be like a ground ball sesh, for example, a ground ball sesh, maybe cage work. So that way we understand like how you swing and things like that. So these are the things that will happen more times than not at a college camp that don't happen here, because this is very just like get in, get out, get your metrics, and move on with your day, right? There's not a ton of like back and forth where there's, you know, instruction sometimes, and then also on repetition. This is where like college camps, I think it's going to be better for like the raw, you know, basically grinder. And then this is going to be more of a showcase player. And if you don't know what like a showcase player is, it's someone that does these things extremely well, but not necessarily do these things extremely well. And yes, there's going to be a fine balance of doing them both well. And that's where ideally inside the tournaments, this is truly about like just performance, right? How you go about it, how you also deal with failure. These are the things that happen at the tournament level. They can't really happen at the college camp, because like, yes, you can miss a ground ball in ground ball sesh. That's not going to necessarily mean a ton. You can miss a ground ball during your infield arm area, which I actually did at my perfect game. If you guys want to search my perfect game, you'll find that video. It's not a good one, but yeah, let it basically go right under my glove. I got very frustrated in that moment, but that's just something that you have to keep in mind. It's like how you deal with that failure typically is going to happen more in the tournaments. And then just basically making sure that you can be like a competitor and compete at the end of the day. Like that's what's really shown up in the evaluation process. So hopefully that answered your question, Patricia, with just how everything can be a little bit different. But I definitely do encourage questions, guys, so keep them coming. We have Heather offers an academic scholarship to play D3 as freshman and play, or D1 and sit out. Well, that's a huge gap, right? We're talking about going from the D1 level, D2, D3. We can even talk about like NAIA and then JUCO, right? We're talking about making the jump from here to here, and not even like here to here. So I'm kind of curious why that is. The thing about D3 scholarship to, so offers an academic scholarship to, so D3, no baseball money, right? There's going to be there's not scholarship money really for baseball at the D3 level, but there is, you know, GPA for grades, right? At the D2 level, this is where, yes, baseball, and then yes, GPA. Same thing for D1 as well, right? So when we're talking about like scholarship money and academic money and stacking them, it only can happen at this level and this level, and not so much at this level. Same thing kind of like here. JUCO, it's going to be more of like a handshake deal of making sure that you get there and ultimately ball out. But I think the question really comes down to it, Heather, is do you want to go to a lower program and play, or higher program and sit, right? The basis of the question I don't love, because you're assuming sitting, right? And in my opinion, like I'm not ever gonna assume that I'm sitting at a baseball program. Like why in the world would I ever assume that I'm sitting? Because that just tells me that like I'm not gonna be working hard enough to play. The other players are just so good that I can't ever get better, right? It just kind of puts me into that negative mindset. Like the higher program is going to automatically mean that your son's going to sit. I don't like that, because again, like I remember my freshman year, I looked at the starting lineup and I wanted to be an infielder and I was more of a pitcher. I looked at the whole lineup and I said, junior, senior, junior, junior, senior, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, and I was just like, there's not a spot for me. That's what I thought to myself. I said, there's not a spot for me on this lineup. But I didn't just go into, oh, I guess it's okay that I'm going to sit. It's just a given, I'm going to sit. No, I got to work, right? And through that work, I became a starter. So, like, my story, I love my story at NC State, is because my freshman year, I really pitched the most. And I only pitched about like 18 innings, and I had like an 8 ERA. It was terrible. That was my freshman year, and I wasn't really considered an infielder, but I got recruited as a two-way player. So that's just something that I thought was interesting, because I got recruited as a two-way player, but I never really was taken serious as an infielder. My bat was there as far as contact, but my glove was really there. But yeah, the biggest thing is, like, I could have very easily thrown in the towel. And I also, in today's climate, I could have very easily transferred to another university. I always love to say, if I went to a Florida State or a UF, like, they would have gotten me out of there and said, hey, go to a JUCO and come back. And I didn't like that at all, like that type of dynamic. And that's exactly why I didn't choose to go to a program like that. That was just very cutthroat. NC State, I knew that they liked to play freshmen. I had an opportunity to play freshmen. I just didn't perform as a pitcher, thankfully, because then I transitioned to an infielder, and of course the rest is history. I hit 362 my sophomore year, and then I got drafted my junior year by the St. Louis Cardinals as an infielder, as a third baseman. It was kind of funny during draft day. They announced basically they announced that I was a pitcher when they drafted me. They said, in the 11th round, St. Louis Cardinals select Evan Mendoza, right-handed pitcher, and everyone was calling me up. Did they really just draft you as a pitcher? And I was like, no, they made a mistake. Don't worry about it. But no, fun story about, like, obviously the draft, and they don't have it all figured out by any means, guys. But yeah, keep the questions coming. I'm gonna check over on what we got on YouTube to make sure that I'm getting you guys in there as well. Sorry, on Instagram. Hit me up. Any questions that you guys have, ask away. By the way, guys, if you did not receive the news, the exciting news that I shared during the webinar, I'm going to be doing lives every single day for 50 straight days. This is I should create like a little overlay, because this is day 1 of 50 webinar, or really streaming at 11 a.m. EST. So basically same time as today. I'm going to be going from 11 to around this time every single day, making sure that you guys get your questions answered every single day. Now, I'm really doing this to make sure that I provide as much valuable advice to you guys, and specific advice, right? By the way, for anyone joining in right now, if you're on YouTube, you can always scan this QR code. I want to make sure that I'm pointing in the right direction, but it's over on the other side. There we go. Boom. That QR code, if you scan it with your phone, it's going to take 20 seconds. You're going to fill out your information as far as like your name, what state you're from, and then your phone number. I have it right here, guys. I'll call you up. We can get a little bit of like a Mendy hotline. And if you have any specific questions that you want to go dive into, that's something that we can definitely do. I don't want to force anyone into doing that, but it is something that I want to make sure that I give you guys as much guidance as possible, and specific guidance as possible. So that is something that is, important for you guys to know. But let's see, we got over on Instagram. So all the chats aren't necessarily lined up perfectly. So let's see. I have to keep going back and forth. Good morning. Hope everyone's having a great day. Let's see what we got. Any lives available later for those in school or not available when you live? So I'm doing 11 a.m. I can't be live 24 hours a day, obviously, but the reason that I'm doing basically 11 a.m., right, is because audio's glitchy. Let's see what we got. We're getting some audio issues over on TikTok, so let's see what we got going on. Oh, it does look pretty glitchy. Guys, if you're on TikTok, just head over to my stream over on YouTube. Yeah, it looks really funky right now. If you're on TikTok, just head over to my stream on YouTube or on Instagram, and because I'm gonna end the live on TikTok. Yeah, TikTok was bugging out. It's part of the process is learning what works, what doesn't work, and all of that stuff. But yeah, the reason I do the lives at 11 a.m. To 12, right, because p.m. is because school gets out roughly at like 2 p.m. and usually kids will get out at like 7 p.m. or get back home, right? So this is usually busy with practice and stuff like that. Yeah, this is the real reason is because I'm trying to talk to you guys, the parents. I don't want to necessarily be flooded with kids asking how to throw harder, how to throw harder, how to throw harder, how to throw harder, when just 5 seconds ago someone also asked how to throw harder, right? So that's just what it comes down to. But yeah, these lives are going to be recorded over on YouTube. You can definitely watch a lot of my YouTube content. You're going to have a lot of guidance there. But the biggest thing I would say is, yeah, watch some of my YouTube videos. It's going to be a little bit of tip of the iceberg, but then also if you are looking for specific advice for a player, and you guys have the availability within the times and everything like that, you can always schedule a call with either myself or a team member, and that's going to be done in the link in my bio. That is to ZMBMBZ. Armando Trevino, have a freshman who made JV. What should he be focusing on to try making a starting spot and possibly getting a notice for varsity? So Armando Trevino 07. Jamie, by the way, the audio on TikTok, because I'm cross streaming other platforms. I'm over on Facebook as well on YouTube. But yeah, TikTok was having some issues. Armando, let me know. We're gonna do a player profile for you if you don't mind, and we're gonna go over kind of just like your current situation. So this is gonna be for Armando. Armando, we have a freshman who made JV. Should be focusing on what should he be focused on? So again, okay, trying to make a starting spot, possibly get noticed eventually for varsity. So the goal is varsity. So Armando, let me know. Don't head out. Because I want to make sure that you get that clarity of what he should be focusing on, especially with his metrics. So let me know his position, his exit velo, his arm velo, his 60 time, and if he's a catcher, his pop time as well. If you don't know any of those, that's fine. But one by one, if you want to just text me in the chat, say like 60 time is whatever it is, arm velo is this, exit velo is this, so that way I have an understanding. Okay, so Art Man, over on YouTube, I want to answer your question real quick because I just answered something very similar. So JUCO, D1, D2, D3, the conversation really becomes, what program do you think is going to be best to be able to get playing time, right? Versus, your question's more JUCO, you might get playing time, versus D1, D2, D3, you might not get any playing time, right? So first and foremost, there's no guarantee that if your son goes to a JUCO, he's going to get playing time either, right? There's no guarantee. He has to be a good baseball player. So like at the D1 level, the same thing applies, right? Like obviously your son needs to, or you need to be like basically at the end of the day, talented enough to be able to make that starting roster, right? Or to be on that starting lineup. You can't just say and put that blanket statement of, he's not going to get playing time at the D1, D2, or D3 level. He's going to have to work hard and make sure that it's very obvious that he's putting in a lot of hard work to make these college coaches like trust him at the end of the day. Like if your son goes to a D1 program compared to a JUCO, he could get playing time because he's showing that he's working extremely hard. Freshmen have played before in college. I was a freshman that played and I was talented enough to be able to play. So like, don't put that blanket statement that like JUCO you'll get playing time and it's a guaranteed thing, because nothing's in life guaranteed other than death and taxes, and that's just something that you have to be aware of. Exit velo mid-70s, and then we're just waiting on arm velo and maybe 60 time. As a catcher, I would assume 60 time might be a little bit slower, maybe in the mid-8s. Arm velo with a 217, I would probably say upper 70s. Yeah, 75. That's actually not terrible. That was almost my best in high school. My best 60 time was a 7.4. That was my senior year. My freshman year of high school, my 60 time was a 9.5, which is terrible. It also made me realize I needed to get to work though, and that lit a fire under me and got me going with everything that I've got going on. David, really great question. I'm going to answer that in a second after we kind of do a quick little player profile for Armando. By the way, if anybody else wants player profiles, you can just send me over all of these bullet points basically. Then that way I can have a little bit of a game plan on what your son needs to be focusing on the most. So let's just go over it. And Armando, if you get me the arm velo, that'd be great, but it's not necessary. So we got Armando in 9th grade, who's a catcher. Throwing about 75, has a 7.5 60 dash and a 2.17 as a catcher. So the big goal is to be playing on varsity as ideally a sophomore this season, or be a starter ideally junior and senior year of high school. So a 2.17, that's going to be the biggest area. Don't have arm right now. So the biggest area right now for your son to be able to have a starting spot is to get this down to like a 1.85, 1.9. And this is ideally where we want to have that goal metric too, right? We don't necessarily need to be right there tomorrow, right? And that's going to be a hard goal, but to be able to get your your pop time to around that range, this is where ideally whatever the arm velo is. So I would assume with, a 2.17, I would probably say arm velo is 77, somewhere in that range, right? The biggest area of improvement for the pop time will always be the arm velo, right? So if we can get that up to like an 84, that would be really, really helpful, right? In terms of that, getting it closer to there. So like 77 to 84, like these are a direct tie in basically making sure that we get that pop time down. As far as like 60 dash, if he's solely a catcher, it's not going to be that important. I would say still work on the athleticism and try getting it closer to a 7 if possible. It's not necessary though. The bigger area also from like an offensive standpoint, because your son could be a good enough hitter to be on varsity as a sophomore, just because his bat to ball skills. But as far as his power, right, 75 miles an hour isn't super powerful. And I've had freshmen inside my academy that are in 9th grade that are catchers with a 97 mile an hour exit velo. EV, that was supposed to be an EV, right? So like when we think about that, we need this up, right? Because right now he's not hitting the ball for power, and that's going to be something that's very, very prevalent when these high school coaches are evaluating him, right? So that's the big thing that we have to really think about is, okay, so when a high school coach is evaluating him, what is he going to do? So if we're thinking about the two biggest areas that will contribute, it's going to be exit velocity and arm velocity. So exit velocity and arm velocity, believe it or not, you need to, let's get a new thing here. So exit velocity and arm velocity, both of these we need to rotate better and more efficient, right? And if we do that and we rotate better, we rotate more efficiently, what's going to happen is we're going to be able to throw the ball faster. We're going to be able to hit the ball further and with more power, right? So the rotate is something that we need to be training in the gym. So this is my kind of question to Armando, if you're still in the chat, is like, what are we doing as far as gym work to help with the rotation? Are we doing a baseball specific movement? And if not, this is where ideally we need to do more baseball specific movements over a long enough time horizon, so that way we can see that rotation become more efficient, and then as a byproduct, our arm velo and exit velocity also improve as well. So hopefully that answers your question. I'm going to go ahead and move on just because I want to make sure I get through everyone. I'm going to be ending this live in about 45 minutes, so I will be able to answer your guys' questions, but let's get to Crown. My nephew has all the talent in the world, freshman with varsity talent. Okay, curious if he's on varsity as a freshman. Insane arm and hits for power. As of November, he would rather watch grass grow. Ooh, any advice? Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, at the end of the day, like, he's the one that's going to be pushing himself to play college baseball. Imagine what he would do in college if he has that same mindset. He's probably not going to work out and probably not going to do the work necessary to play at a higher level. And that's unfortunate, especially if the skill level is there. But let's get into it. So, son is beginning his sophomore year. And this is David. Has 0 social media. Okay, a little bit more on social media. 0 social media. What site is best to use going forward? What types of info stats would best suit him to add? How often should he be posting? Okay, so more of a social media question, which I love, by the way. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I love doing social media. So let's talk about it. I'm going to move this up to make it a little bit easier. Okay, so let's talk about it. Social media. If you don't know it, SM, social media. So 0 presence. Basically, the big question is which platform. I think you asked which site. So don't get trapped into like a field level. Don't do that. Don't do like a, PG thinking that's going to help with exposure, PBR. Don't get trapped into NCSA. Don't get trapped into these things, guys, because these are not going to promote your son. You have to be the one promoting your son. Pause. You don't need to be promoting your son. Your son needs to be promoting him, right? And that's where it can turn into a part-time job if you start posting on behalf of your son. That's going to be crazy, right? I don't want you to have to do those things, right? So with that in mind, really the question becomes which platform. And really, there's a ton. There's TikTok. There's IG. There's Facebook, technically. There's YouTube. There's X, right? So like, okay, which one do we choose? Like, which one are our college coaches on? That should be the driver at the end of the day for which one we really want to be choosing. So TikTok, too many kids. Facebook, too many parents. YouTube, very trusted. X, very easy to use and very quick, and college coaches will use X. Instagram, it's good for more eyeballs, right? Because at the end of the day, we are looking for the eyeballs. How many eyeballs can we get on our videos of basically self-promoting ourselves in some capacity? Not only our recruiting film, but also our journey. And don't think about, and this is something that I heard yesterday, if you're thinking about creating content, just out of show of hands, anybody curious about creating content? And David, maybe you're thinking about creating content. Armando, maybe your son is thinking about creating content. Anybody in the chat thinking about creating content for baseball? Anybody? Is anybody thinking about doing that? Because at the end of the day, like, that is an area that a lot of people are curious on. I'm curious if we have anybody in this chat right now that is interested in going down that path of creating content. Anybody looking to create more content or create better baseball content, or to create that content for, recruiting aspects? Because at the end of the day, again, that is an area that a lot of people are looking into. So we have a couple of people that are looking into creating content, and this is where I'm going to tell you right now, you're already thinking about it wrong. And I kind of put you guys into a little bit of a trap right there. All right, 1 second. So the area that I think that you guys are going wrong, I don't want you thinking about creating the content. I want you to think about documenting the content. Document the journey. You don't even document for baseball. If you showcase the documentary of your son, or ideally your son is documenting what he's doing every single day, that's going to be huge for your son. And just because I'll give you guys a little bit of an insight, it's really interesting to see some individuals do it this way. Let's see if we can find this guy. There's one individual that does extremely well, and I'll pull it up right here. So hopefully he doesn't mind, but I'm gonna go ahead and share with you guys. Francis, he's someone that's out of Jersey, I believe, and he posts content, and maybe I would have to find a way to do the audio, but Road to the MLB, this is day 504. He documents every single day what he's doing, and this is taking videos that take him maybe 15 minutes to edit and post all together. He's voiceovering basically him swinging, This is a super easy video that he created. He has indoor pitching that he did, you know, hitting in the cage. He's getting some engagement as far as contact. 276 likes, right? So that was a fairly short video. And look, 503, 502, 501, 500, 499. Guys, this guy's consistent, right? At the end of the day, this guy is consistent. And more than likely, you're maybe just not. Maybe you're not. Right? So these are the things that I want you guys to be thinking about, because when we're thinking about documenting content, that's the good way. And that's what Francis does, right? If we're thinking about doing it the wrong way, and ultimately if we think about creating content, that's where I think we can go wrong. And I don't want you guys to fall into the trap of doing things the wrong way, especially when it comes down to social media, because social media is, you know, it can hurt you sometimes. It can also definitely help you. But yeah, let's see. We got Art. Let's go through Art's player profile here in a second. And by the way, guys, I'm going to be doing 50 days of streaming. So this is day 1 of 50. Streaming every single day, guys. So hopefully you guys enjoy this type of content. But let's get into it. So Art. We got Junior. Metric 675. We got EV 89, 87 max 96. Okay, okay. We care more about max 96. Arm 84 across the diamond. Pop time not needed. Position. I would assume from shortstop, so let's just put infield. Yeah, so X velo as a junior, 96. We like the sooner we can get to that 100 mile an hour mark off of the tee with wood, the better off we'll be. So that should always be the number for a lot of juniors and seniors as you're starting to physically mature. Arm velo, that plays as far as an infielder. The cool thing about being an infielder, you don't need to have the strongest arm. For me, I was around junior year, I think I was around 88 across the diamond as an infielder. I don't know what that was. Infielder. And that's going to help. It's not the most necessary thing. I can honestly say, though, like I didn't use my arm in my 7 years of professional baseball to the maximum ability, right? And the reason is because I knew my footwork. I was able to get the ball over and perform at the end of the day. And that was a cool thing about playing minor league baseball and professional baseball. It's like, guys, these showcase numbers only help you to a certain extent, and then there's going to be a point in time where the only thing that matters is performance at the end of the day. Like that is the only thing that matters. So like I think 84 is fine for probably like right here, right now. It's good enough for a D3 school, right? If that's the goal, that's cool, but ideally we want to always keep that progression. 6'7" as an infielder. I can't do infield, but that's good as well. So really just like nitpick, I mean, like this is the area, especially when you say like his average is 80. It's hard to do an average exit velocity because usually average exit velocity, what we're really looking at is in-game average exit velocity, which typically a lot of high school fields and travel ball fields don't necessarily have the TrackMan, the Rapsoda to be able to get that average. If you're talking about average during like a batting practice session, very, very different than in-game average. That's the biggest separator. But when we're talking about just like max exit velocity, the most standardized way of doing it is T with wood. So if he can get that up to like 100, that would be great. But with a little bit more information, he's 5'7", 144. So yeah, this is, I mean, I'm not going to talk about like his height, right? As an infielder, I think that's fine for like a second baseman right now. But he's a junior at 144. We need him to go from 144 to like 175 as soon as possible. And this is pounds, by the way. So like, I'm curious, Art, on your perspective of what he's doing right now as far as gym, as far as nutrition, to basically expedite that, because that is a huge area that I think you guys need to be addressing. Because right now, being a high school second baseman isn't going to end well at the college level. Because what typically will happen at the college level is college coaches will look for about 4 shortstops at the high school level, right? We don't want to be playing first base or second base or really even third base at the high school level unless you're at a very stacked school. But what we really want is to be the shortstop at that really good high school, because that shortstop is going to transition over to a first baseman. Like for example, at NC State, we had about like 7 shortstops that were committed to NC State. I was one of them, of course, and I ended up playing third base. There was another shortstop that played second base. There was also another shortstop that played first base, and then there was one shortstop that played shortstop, right? So thinking about that, we really want to put ourselves in the position of what does a typical high school shortstop look like, and how can we fit the mold of a college shortstop. And typically college shortstops are going to be a little bit more built, and they're going to be a little bit taller as well. So that's something that I think with the weight that he'll gain, he'll maybe hit that growth spurt and get a little bit taller as well. So yeah, guys, if you have any, if you guys want me to do a player profile, let me know. Give me some data. How often should my son, who is a junior on varsity center fielder and pitcher, he's a lefty as well, documenting daily. How often should be my son, who's a junior on varsity? I mean, what do you mean as a lefty? So like you're giving me like positions. I think the question is revolving around social media and documenting on social media, if I'm correct. I mean, like, look, guys, if we're talking about social media, the best time to start was really when you were born. To be completely transparent with you guys, like, especially with how social media has boomed recently, and yeah, social media wasn't around when I was born, but if we were documenting daily from the day that we were born, like, it does take an incredible amount of exposing yourself in every single day. Yes, like, as a parent, technically the parent would be posting every single day as when they were being born. That's the extreme. But the consistency and the momentum that you can achieve by posting consistently every single day, that's the thing. The next best time, today. Ideally, we want to be able to build that consistency as much as possible. And again, that consistency doesn't happen by waiting for the perfect time where your son's metrics are going to be perfect, so that way he can do this and he can do that, right? So we need to keep that in perspective of when's the best time to post, ideally. Like right here, right now. That's why I'm on this live with you guys right now, is because I want to be able to give you guys as much quality guidance as soon as humanly possible. And especially Janice, if your son's a junior and if he wants a little bit more guidance, if you guys are curious about working one-on-one with me inside my remote training program, you can always click the link in my bio on Instagram or on YouTube. You can go to MendozABaseballAcademy.com. I think you can see it right up there. And learn a little bit more about who I am and what my program is all about. You can schedule out a Zoom call with him, with you, with us, and we can see if we can even help. And that goes for anyone that's really listening in and also enjoying this type of content. To be able to build out a roadmap, that's really important to make sure that you guys get that understanding. So, Matisse. Ooh, okay. 7th grader. Okay. A little bit young for my academy. By the way, my academy works with 8th and up. 5'8", 152. We got 2.4. Not bad for a 7th grader. 75 EV. Uh, 79 drop 5. Okay. Arm velo 68 from home to second. From home. Okay, so that's your catcher popped up. Gotcha. I'm assuming he's a catcher as well. Cool. So 60-yard dash would probably be needed. I would probably say it's like in the 9 second. But I really wouldn't know. In a 60-yard dash time, it's not that. Yeah, 8.5. Yeah. So like my 60 time, he's technically, your son Matisse is already faster than where I was at my freshman year of high school. I was at a 9.5 second 60, which obviously wasn't super fast. But that's just something that I remember. I had to get better at. That's the most important thing. At the end of the day, like what we do when we're thinking about improving our skills is like to be able to have these baselines. You're already ahead, Matisse, so that's really exciting. And of course, I'm really looking forward in maybe the next couple of years, you guys would be eligible to work with us. But being 152 in 7th grade, that's actually like that's good. I don't like from 5'8", 152 in 7th grade. We project out a couple of years. Like, is he going to get to that 170, 180 when he's like 5'9"? Because that might be, you know, he's still kind of on the route of being a catcher only. And if that's the route, that's the route, right? Like, I want him to be as athletic as possible. Because if you look like a guy, let's see, like a Buster Posey back in the day. Like, you know, Buster Posey, he was super athletic, even though he was a catcher. It's not like he was super overweight, right? So that's the thing that I'm not necessarily concerned on. But like, is this going to affect his 60 time? Is it going to affect his ability to rotate faster as far as his exit velocity and his arm velocity, right? These are the things. His pop time, like, not terrible for a 7th grader, but once he gets into high school, we want that down to like a 2-1 if possible. And the best way that we're going to be able to do that is through the arm velocity and having quicker feet. And again, like, if the athleticism is the thing that's holding him back, that's something that I'm curious on, of course, like how we're addressing that most likely in the gym, and if there's anything else that, you know, can be taken into account, because that's something that a lot of people just simply don't do enough. But yeah, guys. By the way, guys, if you do have any baseball-related questions, feel free to always click the link in my bio. You can book a call with either myself or one of my team members, and we can kind of just go over your current situation and see if I can even help. Let's get this out of the way. His first perfect game showcase is in a month. You know how to get a PG ranking. Been told that rankings come from playing tournaments, but no experience with PG. Yeah, so perfect game tournaments will help with getting player notes. So usually this is how it was when I was playing. So there's like going to be like a notes section, and that's going to be where they do a write-up. And if you're in the post-game write-up of basically what happened in the game, that's where you'll find some notes maybe on if you were if your son was a good performer. And this is going to be in tournaments, so that's like games, right? Over here, showcase. If you guys are doing a showcase though, that's where you will get a PG grade, and don't expect a ton in 7th grade. That's why I think it's not important to go to perfect game events so early, because if the metrics aren't there, they're probably going to get like a grade, like a 6 or something like that. Where ideally, like juniors and seniors, they're going to start grading around like 8.5, 9, 9.5. Like that's ideally where you want to be for college coaches to also like. This is the interesting thing about college recruiting. It's like college coaches will 100% go to a perfect game, see someone at a 9.5, and if they're still uncommitted, just they know perfect game's a trusted source. Why did perfect game just go ahead and grade them a 9.5? That's going to make other schools like very, very interesting to understand what's going on. By the way, I think a little while ago, I think I saw just Brody. I'm not sure if Brody went ahead and scheduled a call or not, but let me see what's going on. The cool thing about doing these lives, I'm going to be somewhat talking to you guys. I'm also going to be talking to basically what's going on, what my workflow is looking like right now. But yeah. Let me see. All right, what's going on? I'll just do that. But yeah, if you guys have any baseball related questions, let me know. That's why I'm doing these lives, and I'm also going to be doing lives for 50 straight days at 11 a.m., excluding Sundays. That's the one thing I want to make sure that you guys know. I'm excluding Sundays. Sunday's going to be my off day, but I want to be able to give an hour to you guys as much as possible. At what age should I play or narrow down any position? So, like, I consider myself a shortstop all the way throughout. Like, I really did. I was upset when I didn't play shortstop because I understood that being a shortstop is going to extend my career as long as possible. But that's just an area that I think it's really important to know. Yeah, so I always wanted to be a shortstop. Yeah, I would get like visibly upset if I was like told I needed to play third base, or I remember one team I started playing right field for no reason, and I remember I didn't take that lightly. But yeah, that's just like something that you want to put yourself into that category of being an athlete as much as humanly possible. Yeah, so that just like will help out in the overall process. But yeah, any baseball related questions, guys, let me know. That's what I'm doing these lives for. I'm going to do about another 20 minutes or so of lives and making sure that you guys get your questions answered to make sure that you guys have as much baseball knowledge and guidance as humanly possible. That's a big thing, guys. I want to make sure that you guys have an understanding of like what's going on in the college baseball recruiting process. Making sure that you guys understand that, like, if you have a question, ask, most importantly, because that's definitely the area where I want to make sure that you guys get that understanding of what to do, how to go about maybe certain issues or struggles within the game. That's a huge thing, guys. Like, to acknowledge struggles isn't like something that's bad for you. It just is like, hey, I need help in this specific area. So don't view it as like a bad thing when it comes down to it, right? Like, what I want you to do is like making sure that you have that understanding of how to overcome it if that is the case, whatever that struggle might look like for you individually. So yeah, if you have any baseball related questions, let me know. And I will take care of you guys. At the end of the day, like, that's all I want to do. I want to be able to help you guys out as much as humanly possible. Do you think playing multiple sports athlete makes you more recruitable? Yeah, yes. So look, like, coaches love multi-sport athletes, and I would say like probably like 65% of my students are multi-sport. The ones that I work with, they play, football, basketball are probably the most common. If you can read that says basketball. But yeah, like, a good amount of my students are multi-sport athletes. The thing where it comes down to the sport that your son is playing is, what is the priority? So priority is priority. There's no S, right? There's no such thing, in my opinion, just from the definition. Like, for whatever reason, people started saying, yeah, this isn't my priority, like this or that, they're not my priorities. There's no such thing as priorities. There really isn't. I don't believe that there's priorities. There's a singular priority, right? There's not multiple, right? So when, you might say that like your son's really gifted in, basketball, or he enjoys football and he has a chance. okay, what's the goal? What's the priority? And if, for me, like I played multiple sports too, but I just didn't play organized team sports. Like I would play basketball, like pick up basketball at the LA Fitness. I'd play racquetball with my brother. I'd play lacrosse with my brother. I'd play wiffle ball. I'd play, we'd throw the football around all the time. We'd play volleyball at LA Fitness. I used to love playing volleyball at LA Fitness. But like I was super athletic in all these different sports, and I really think I skateboarded for a good amount of time as well. So I did all these things to really help advance my athleticism. But again, I had my one singular priority for baseball. And when college coaches know that for a fact as well, that helps in the recruiting process, because the thing is that college coaches are going to do is they're a little bit, I don't want to say jealous, but they want to steal certain players into baseball. They're like, no, I don't want you to play basketball even though you're pretty good at basketball. I want to steal you into baseball at the end of the day, right? So that's where like coaches like the fact that, players will play multiple sports, and it doesn't hurt by any means when it comes to, the recruiting process. If anything, it helps. But again, what is that priority? Is it going to be hard to watch, for example, in the middle of summer? Like, are you guys busy with something else, or are you guys on the travel ball circuit making sure that you get in front of these college coaches, right? So that these are the things that are really important to understand. And the sooner you understand them, obviously, the better off you guys will be. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna be live here for another like 15 minutes or so. I've been live for, let's actually see it. I have been live for 2 hours and 27 minutes minus like 30 minutes though. So like I've been live for about 2 hours now. Really excited to be live giving you guys this advice. Cheers to you guys. This is my Cuban coffee. This is a coffee and baseball. I'm gonna be doing lives at 11 a.m. Eastern to be able to answer your guys' questions. And just out of curiosity, if you're on Instagram, if you're on Facebook, let me know. Also, if you're on Instagram or YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, wherever you're listening to this on, let me know in the chat right now if you have plans on coming back to another one of these coffee and baseballs. This is going to be daily, Monday through Saturday. I'm going to do 50 straight days to be able to get you guys understanding about baseball recruiting, all that fun stuff. So let me know if you have plans on coming back. It's going to be at 11 a.m. to 12 noon. And it could be any other day. Just let me know if there's just one singular person that's planning on coming back out, because I'm looking forward to helping you guys out. So playing baseball year round in high school is super important. Okay, great question. This is great. I'm sure this will grow. I'll spread the word. I love that. That's awesome. Yes, Rach. Awesome. Just make sure to bring your Cuban coffee. Maybe try your Cuban coffee. One thing before I get into that question, guys, I want to sit back and kind of just talk to you guys real quick. Let's see. I want to sit back and kind of just talk to you guys. One second, because I want to make sure I can like eliminate all these things. I'm gonna do simple. All right. So this is gonna look like. Don't worry, guys. Don't worry. I'm gonna be here in a second. I'm gonna be here. Just give it 1 second. There we go. I'm back, guys. Okay. I just want to talk to you guys real quick, okay? With very minimal distractions. So, before getting into the questions again, so I've been going to a Lifetime Fitness lately, and just a gym, right? Been enjoying it a ton. And they have the hot tub and they have the cold tub, and I think it's just really interesting. Every time, and I love doing the cold tub. I used to do the cold tub when I was with the Padres, when I was doing rehab in Arizona in the middle of summer. As you can imagine, it's very, very hot. And that was actually the first thing that I would do at like 7:30 every morning as I'm, reporting to the field, reporting to the complex. And it just, if anything, I don't know, and of course there might be a doctor listening or something like that, but I don't know how much of like a health benefit it truly is, as far as like, and I would do contrast, so basically going from hot tub to cold tub, hot tub to cold tub, right? I don't know how much help it did for my body in recovery supposedly the compression of the hot and the expansion of the cold. No, the opposite. The expansion of the hot and the compression of cold is supposed to help with blood flow and help with recovery. I don't know how much that actually helped. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. And I would do cold tub every single day. And I've been getting into cold tubbing at Lifetime because they have it and I just enjoy it. What it does more so on my mental state. And this is going to be a little bit of a challenge. I don't know how many people are listening in right now. But if you are listening in, if you can get access to a cold tub, it might be going into your bathtub and putting in cold water. You might be in the Northeast. It might be cold. The thing is, the story I want to share with you guys, and I urge you guys all to try doing cold tub at least once, even though you might hate it. So whenever I walk into Lifetime's like pool area where I see the hot tub and the cold tub, I always think about, and this is just like things that I observe. I go in there, I see like about 8 people into the hot tub, which is very comfortable. It's a jacuzzi at the end of the day, right? I walk in, I see 8 people in the jacuzzi, and I see 1 person in the cold tub. And the only thing that I can really think about is people like comfortable situations. People like the comfortable environment. They like sunny and 75, right? They want things to be comfortable in their life. But the thing is that, like, whenever I go to the gym, I always think about, well, why do people like the comfortable? Why don't people just go through the hardship of going through the cold tub? It's not that bad. It's really not that bad. It's more of a mental thing that there's a mental block for a lot of people out there. And like for yesterday, I did the cold tub for the longest that I've done in a while, about 6 minutes straight. And there's a point in time where there was just like peace, right? There, like I couldn't feel my body necessarily in a good way. It wasn't like, I just realized to myself, like I was thinking, and I was like, it's really not that bad. And if anything, time does go a lot slower when you're in a tough environment. It feels like you're, in a ditch and you can't, crawl your way out of it, right? And this is kind of like how I always resemble some very pivotal moments of my career and how I was able to break through. And really it comes down to doing the hard work, and there's no other ways about it, right? There's no, shortcuts. There's no comfortable path, right? Thinking about, when I was a sophomore and I quickly realized the competition was way different because my family moved from Maryland to Florida. I realized the competition was way more elevated than Maryland, and I needed to get a grip on my baseball life, and I did the hard work, and I was very uncomfortable. I was doing the cold tub, basically, so to speak, and that's what got me to the other side of playing on varsity, being a starter, being a pretty good athlete, and getting recruited. Also, when I was at NC State, there was a point in time where I gave up pitching and I wanted to be an infielder. And again, I was going to the cold tub. I was doing the hard work. I was staying in the cage with the automatic feeder until 1 a.m. I was figuring my swing out because I knew that was my bottleneck for my ability to be able to start my sophomore year. So I was doing all this hard work, and I didn't know if it was going to work out or not. I didn't know if the cold tub was going to be worth it. I didn't know if it was going to affect my body or not. But it did affect my mental state, just like the cold tub. It made me feel, in a weird way, like superior, right? It made me feel like I was better because I was putting in the work. I was doing the hard work. I was doing the hard stuff now because I understand if I don't do the hard stuff now, it's going to get way harder later. So basically at the end of the day, like, choose your hard. Which one do you want? Do you want to, be a normal student in college, looking at the baseball team, saying, what if I worked a little bit harder? Or maybe what if your son worked a little bit harder? Like, I don't want him to live with that regret. So choose the hard. Like, do you want to do the hard now, or do you want to do the hard later? Because that's what it really comes down to in, the difference between, the people that want the comfortable and the people that are willing to do the hard. And that's just, some things that I'm observing at Lifetime recently. Because I think it's really interesting to me that nobody likes doing cold tub. And I think it's really just like a mental thing for whatever reason. No one likes to do cold tub. And it's just like, I love that feeling of like, it's again, not even about the physical, like what it does to my muscles and recovery. It's really truly what it does for me, like thinking, I just did something extremely hard today and I figured it, I did it, and that makes me go and to keep doing the hard stuff and that's where that compounding effect, I think, really truly comes into. So if you guys have read the book, The Compounding Effect, it's a good one. But yeah, let's get back into some questions as we wrap this up for about 9 more minutes of this live. Guys, we're going to be going on 2 hours of this live today. We got a couple of return visitors, or will be returning visitors, 11 a.m. Eastern. Just be on the lookout. I'm probably only going to do Instagram and YouTube lives. I think it's just a little bit more clean. And hopefully I'll be able to figure out this like cross chat thing. But so playing baseball year round in high school is super important. So in my opinion, no. Like, to answer the question, just simply no. So if we think about, let's do this. January, December. All right, so that's the calendar year right in front of us, okay? And I just want to make sure I'm sharing the right screen. Okay, cool. So if we think about the baseball season, typically it'll be like right here. That's the baseball season, usually around like February to September or October, right? That is the baseball season right there, right? So that's the area that we're in game mode, right? We want to be in season mode, and we want to, yes, we want to be playing baseball in those important years, or not years, in those specific months, right? But in my opinion, what we need to be focusing on a lot more is like, what are we doing in this 3 or 4 month area right here, all the way to December, and then the beginning of the season as preseason. And ideally, this is going to be like a 3 or 4 month period of time that we could focus on the gym. You know, we could focus on recruiting. We could focus on the mentality. Like, these are areas that we can be focusing on severely when we're not focusing on playing the game all the time, right? So to answer your question, like, is playing baseball year round really super important? Like, in my opinion, no, it's not important to play year round, because if you do that, you're never focusing on development. You're never focusing on basically improving up and to the right, right? So again, if you do games, and I'm going to change it over to black again. If you do games this whole time, like, when do we have time for the gym or recruiting or the mental game? Like, these are the areas that we need to make sure that we're addressing, to make sure that we're not neglecting at the end of the day, which is what a lot of high school baseball players will ultimately be doing. So cool, guys. Gonna have about 5 more minutes, so maybe if you have 1 or 2 more questions, probably the longest live that I've done in a long time, about 2 hours. So if you have a baseball player, a high school baseball player, you can always hit up my DMs, guys. If you have any baseball related questions, you can always DM me the word college to get that conversation going. And then one thing that I think is just really important to note, guys, is up here. Day 1 of 50. We're gonna be streaming every single day at 11 a.m. Eastern. Really enjoy, getting to know you guys and making sure that you guys also understand I'm a real human being. I'm here to help you guys out for free. And I want you guys to also be able to tell a friend if that's something that you guys are interested in doing. If you have another parent, another teammate, or someone that you feel like this could benefit, make sure to share this live over with them. Obviously, that's what I want this to do. I want this to turn into a snowball. That's the reason exactly I am doing this this live. Okay, Download default. It looks like there was some comments over on Facebook, but unfortunately I wasn't able to get them. Interesting. High school sophomore track some of the clicks. Awesome. Cool. All right, guys. Well, if we don't have any other questions, if everyone's already played D1 baseball, if everyone's already played professional baseball, that's cool. I don't have to keep doing this. I always like to kind of put that into perspective, guys, because a lot of you guys are interested in getting a little bit more resources. Sometimes you just don't know what question to ask, and that's completely fair. There's no such thing as a dumb question, guys. I really, truly do believe that. But every single day, guys, every single day, that's what I'm doing. I'm doing lives to make sure that you guys get that your questions answered. It's going to be a little bit less formal than today's live. Maybe I'll go through a specific sample for the first maybe 10 or 15 minutes, making sure that we have some level of momentum going into it. Have a good day. See you on day 2. Let's go. Yeah, day 2 is going to be tomorrow. I'm going to start blocking off my calendar. Or I kind of already have mentally blocked off my calendar for every single day. But this is something that I'm really excited for. Streaming every single day, 11 a.m. Eastern. to make sure that you guys get the quality instruction from someone trusted in the space for baseball. If you guys don't know who I am, I played 7 years of professional baseball between the Cardinals and Padres. Went through the college recruiting process myself, played D1 baseball, and of course I want to be able to help out the younger generation, be able to start on my shoulders. So let's actually just have one more question, just to be able to wrap everything up in due time. So if anybody has one specific question, let me know, and then that way I can answer that and we can go on with the rest of our day. This has been a super enjoyable coffee and baseball. So next time, make sure to bring your coffee, of course. But yeah, one last question, guys, before we wrap up. We don't have to do the question. Again, we don't have to. If you guys are already throwing 100 miles an hour, already hitting the ball 100 miles an hour, already, have the birth certificate of Shohei Ohtani, like that's cool. That's cool. I don't need to help you guys. I don't need to. But of course, if you guys are looking for that help, that's what I'm here for. But yeah, guys. Yeah, we've been doing this stream for about 2 hours now, and probably a little bit longer. This live will be over on YouTube, the entire full video. So if that's something that you guys are interested in, maybe backlogging to this live, especially at the very beginning where we went through the presentation, that's going to be something that you guys should definitely rewatch, because it's definitely going to give you that understanding of what's going on with my academy, who I am, what my program does, how I could possibly help, and I go into great detail on everything as far as what we like to do here at Mendoza Baseball Academy. So, all right, guys, we're approaching that 1 o'clock time, and yeah, it's been about 2 hours. This was a great success as far as the first ever Coffee and Baseball for the year 2026. We went over the 3-step system of how to reach, go from overlooked to landing college offers. We did a great deal of Q&As. I'm looking forward to keeping those Q&As alive. And of course, you can always screenshot to call in. That is something that I want to make sure that I keep referencing to you guys. And maybe tomorrow you guys jump in. You can do that screenshot of the QR code to call in. You would have to go into your Photos app to be able to press and hold the QR code. But it's just like a fun way to make sure that you guys get that interactive Q&A if you have a specific question you want to ask. But like I said, guys, this was the first day 1 of 50 of streaming every single day for 50 straight days minus Sundays. So if you guys are interested in coming back tomorrow, meet me here at 11 o'clock Eastern. Take care, guys.
Welcome Evan Mendoza to the program.
Cardinals third baseman Evan Mendoza.
Mendoza giving it a look, finds the railing and he tumbles over, but he made the catch. Unbelievable, Evan Mendoza.
Gran jugada en Evan Mendoza, 2 joyas defensivas.
Evan Mendoza makes a great
Grounded up the middle. Mendoza throws off the shortstop. Mendoza field spins. Throw.
Mendoza throw to first in time. Wow, what a play by Evan Mendoza.
Mendoza to second for 1. Oh my word, you've got to be kidding.
Evan Mendoza.